see.
And it looks like
we're off. Sorry for interrupting.
No worries. So all of our runners are going to start in Super Metroid at the ship. And in this combination between Super Metroid and Link to the Past, the first opportunity that they have to switch between the games will be a portal just in a door below the shaft where they're all heading to right now.
That is true. There's also 3 other portals. One to... Oh, Solsky and Leno are going to lower... or the Blue Brimstar. But the other portals in this game are Dark World Ice Rod, which gives you right before Dragon in Meridia. The net... Ooh, flute. Was that a flute I saw?
That was indeed a flute.
The other portals are right above right Mire Shed, which gets you to Lower Norfair, which is right above Screw Attack. The other portals, the last portal is the Upper Norfair, which is on Death Mountain, Light Death Mountain, right above the old man's house.
So we've got all of our runners making their respective openings right now, and we've got a few people doing the 2-item check in Blue Brinstar, which can yield not too many good items early, but if it's an important item, it's not something you necessarily want to skip for that long, but then head right back into Link to the Past where the bulk of the early items are available.
Well, we get some hearts from the pool crab and some rubies from the pool tree, and just some supers at the lumberjack.
So this will not be an Aghanim seed unless we need Aghanim Dead for Dark World access.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like Elminster and Zosti are heading towards the Lost Woods to see what the mushroom item is. And Zosti missing that... I don't know the name of the Shocky enemy.
Let's just call them Shockies.
And some super missiles at Mushroom. And Lino getting his flute. And Solsky, I think, did Solsky pick up his flute?
Solsky looks like he just came from the house, so probably.
He's heading to Hyrule Castle. And heading that route, while the other 2 runners are heading straight to Kakariko. Ooh, some love for Zolski.
All of our runners are progressing through what's known as the Sphere Zero checks right now, the sort of places that are all open at the beginning of the game with no progression items necessary. Kakariko Village is full of most of those, but you've also seen a few plays into the basement of the palace.
And Leno and Solsky picking up their wave beam. And chat's saying he skipped the house.
Well, you shan't skip it for too long. It's usually one of the most common places to save, quit, and reset to.
And we got Zosti farming some bombs in the hut in the south of Kakariko.
Yep, the 2 things we need right away in Link to the Past are bombs and rupees. Rupees can be used to buy bombs, but then bombs open up most of the initial checks in Kakariko as well as along the south part of the map.
Solsky and Leno heading towards the woods, and Zosti is going to finish his checks in Kakariko.
No, don't hurt the chickens.
This is a free-for-all, chat. That is noted by the different colors of the borders around each race. I had to pause for the swag duck. The goose is loose.
The duck is unstuck.
And blind hut yields a little bit of love. A reserve tank. Ah,
Ooh, Quake.
yeah, that could be useful. Most of these items are getting right now are, you know, in the back of Elminster and Zosti's mind, they're probably thinking there's some items in Blue Brimstar because they haven't been really that thorough.
Yeah,
Or I
after
mean,
the flute, Kakariko didn't have a whole ton.
no, that flute just, our progression could be anywhere.
It might point to Death Mountain. That gives us early check on Spectacle Rock as well as access into Norfair.
Mm-hmm. I see hell runs in these runners' futures, but they need a lot of energy tanks, and they've picked up zilch.
At least they'll be able to dispatch of enemies fairly easily in the early game, as we've now seen a combination of wave and plasma pickups.
I did not see where Plasma was.
Plasma was just down the well in Kakariko.
Okay. I kind of missed that one. I was paying attention to the top two, Zosti and Elminster. And I missed it.
For those following in chat and wondering about the tracker doesn't have all items between Super Metroid and A Link to the Past on it, just the ones that are most important for Go mode in each game. So right now you don't see something like a Wave Beam or a Plasma on it because they're not strictly required.
Mm-hmm. But they do help. Especially Wave Beam with some X-Ray. And just some money on top of library. And the race game check is just some bombs. Now with this flute, they have a really good mobility access to get around. Like, they don't have to spend a lot of time walking. Now all they got to do is find some boots and they'd be in business. And Zosti doing the race game for some bombs. Oh, he's... yeah. He's saving and quitting out of that. And Leno activating his flute. Now Solski's probably going to be kicking himself later as soon as he opens. And Zosti finds his flute as well.
Fortunately, they didn't go too long without it.
Mm-hmm. Best bet right there would be, I'd save and quit, but he still has to check Castle. But with those bombs in hand, he can make it all the way to the, Zelda Escape. The first half of Escape. And get to Zelda's chest. And
Elm doing our first mini Moldorm cave check. One of the early limitations in Link to the Past is often that you don't really have anything to kill enemies with besides bombs, so Elm, fortunately, getting all those hits in and not having to waste his.
Ooh, a hammer!
Yes, that's fantastic.
That is a 1/3 of Dark World access right there. Elm heading towards Escape. He's now gonna have an easier time than Zosti is with the Escape.
Yes, the hammer is a very strong weapon. It does tempered sword damage.
That is correct. Elminster picking up his wave beam, and Leno in Desert checking Agina's cave. Now this is a very missed spot for runners. They don't like going way out over here to check it, but Leno's like, hey, I got the flute, let's do it.
Yeah, these corner spots on the Link to the Past overworld, like this one in Ice Rod Cave, it just, you hate to do it, but they're in Sphere Zero, so you gotta admit that they could have progression.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
No worries, just get some coffee going.
can't drink coffee. Doctor told me no.
Well, then doctor's orders.
However, I can drink Monster because it has 60 grams less of caffeine in it than coffee does. So I can have Monster, but I cannot have coffee. Anyway, back to the race, and Solsky activating his flute, and the duck is amuck on his screen. And Zosty doing pot strats with that ball and chain guard, and just for some bombs.
Huh, so, where... Have we not seen an Ice Rod cave check yet? I think that's still open.
I think that still needs to be checked. Now, Zosty is an experienced Super Metroid runner, and I've seen him running a lot of Link to the Past so he can get better on the mechanics on how Link moves and bomb jumps and other things. So I'm bet he's thinking that dark room into the back of Escape for those 3 chests. He's like, really don't want to do that. But I mean, if you're skilled enough in a dark room to sequence break that, I mean, it would be kind of worth it to do. Since this is hard mode, it might, breaking the logic might help them find a little bit of progression. And Elminster heading towards Ice Rock Cave.
It is worth noting, nobody's expected to use any of the minor glitches in Link to the Past, even in hard mode, as the hard logic is only about Super Metroid tricks. However, if they gambled that, say, the gloves were coming soon and that they might be able to get into the back of Escape anyways, checking it now with a dark search through the room could be advantageous.
We have some peebs and Ice Rod, some icy peebs. Chat pointing out Sarasala's hut garage. It would be a good spot to check right about now too. And 20 rubies on the ledge. Now, what do you think will be their go mode item? Like, what item would throw them into go mode?
Goodness, this seems too early to call, but if I'm just gonna make a total random guess, let's say bow. The bow is just gonna be buried.
I'm gonna say hook shot. I want to say the hook shot's the go mode item. And Leno, fake flippering. He has the money for Zora. Now, if he had the Moon Pearl, he'd be able to set up a water walk glitch. Ooh,
Oh no!
Bodied by that crab. But what I was going to say before he got bodied by that crab was if he had the Moon Pearl, and the way weird Moon Pearl physics is, if you have the Moon Pearl, you can set up a water walk by entering and exiting and entering again the waterfall ferry. And that is a very useful trick.
Yep,
Elminster.
it's nice to pick those up on your way to Zora's Domain when you have the chance.
And Old Man has sequence of breaking some gloves. That is a good sequence break. Solsky's probably on cloud 9, and Elminster and Leno sequence breaking the Old Man. Why Zosty is... Hold on a second.
So that's a really fortunate under-the-bridge check for Solsky, but it probably points to the fact that flippers are going to be available fairly soon because we're going to need a glove for most of our core Link to the Past progression anyways.
I'm back. I'm sorry about that. I had to deal with a furry animal walking around my house. Yeah, with the gloves being where they are, it kind of helps.
Elma took a brief dip into Super Metroid just to see what the item in front of High Jump Boots was, but nothing special.
And just some love. Everybody has to have a little love. Now, with Solsky having those gloves, missiles on ledge, that technically Zora's in and out of logic at the same time, because having the gloves gives Zora access. However, since he did not have the flippers when he got said gloves, they're still out of logic.
Yeah, I think at this point it's just, I'm here, I got 500 rupees, let's get this now, and not necessarily setting his heart on finding something he needs.
That is true. Now, Elminster making the Eastern play, and I think this is worth it, because this is the only Sphere Zero check we have not done yet. That would be good. And Zosti with the awesome Zoomer kill, jumping down, hitting the breakaway, popping a missile off. Bomb upgrade, some missiles, and some
Ooh,
arrows.
I was holding out hope, but now maybe things are going to be in Eastern?
Now, Solsky with those gloves, he's able to check the back of Escape, which might pay off big. And we got some love, some arrows, and a Moon Pearl.
That's
Now,
full Dark World access for Solsky.
yes, that is, but also he can set up another water or another fake flipper if he really chose to, and head up to Waterfall Cave, the Waterfall Cave. But he's heading straight to Hype Cave.
As chat points out, that means the flippers or something that leads to that kind of progression we just saw is going to be in Eastern, because we know Solsky's sequence breaking right now.
Oh yeah, until he finds the flippers, he is technically out of logic right now. Now, if he would have sequence broke... Oh, there's the flippers! So we now know where the logic is. So we now know where Elminster has to go in order to get a significant amount of progression. Now, Eastern Palace being not pendant, and not a pearl.
Have we had a map check yet? I don't think so.
Yeah, we have.
See it on the tracker.
Yeah, we got crystals at Eastern Palace, Desert Palace, and Pod is our green pendant.
Yep, my bad. I just missed him.
And now Tower I gotta speak. Tower Hera is a pendant. And Hype Cave. How hype is Hype Cave? Just some missiles right now. Super missiles.
Ooh, Morph Ball. That makes Hype Cave the hype.
8 out of 10.
At least.
8 out of 10. That gives him great access through Super Metroid. That gives him... He has access through Dark World. And a bunch of other things. That sequence break for Solsky is beginning to pay off.
Yeah, we'll probably see all these runners do their flipper checks as soon as they leave Eastern, because they're all pretty experienced, but Solsky with an early progression lead.
Yep. And with that, and he did do a Dark World check, and we got crystals at Swamp, Skull Woods, Thieves Town, and Ice Palace, and Turtle Rock. Everybody's favorite.
I love seeing a pendant on Misery Mire, because that dungeon is just no fun to do.
Yeah, I get lost in Misery Mire. I know Ice Palace with all the with all the confusing and everything, but Misery Mire is, now the 5-6 crystals is at Thieves Town and Ice Palace. Now Elminster, he's gonna find his hammer and he's gonna find his other goodies. Solsky checking Catfish. Now, did you know if you pick up that bush at the top of the hill and then fall down, Link maintains his standard walking speed.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, chat pointing out that that late flute really hurt Solsky, but that sequence break really gave him a good advantage. Now he's probably heading up to, oh, waterfall check, and ether.
What's funny is Solsky probably isn't going to miss those flippers very much until it comes time to do Swamp Palace, but by then he'll probably have done Eastern Palace as it is a crystal.
Mm-hmm. And also, if Bo's in Swamp, it's gonna hurt Solsky.
Oh, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. If that Bo happens to be in Swamp Palace, it's gonna hurt him. Because that's a double dip of Eastern too.
Alright, Solsky into Thieves Town, well, Dark Kakariko Village, for a couple of checks here. First with the chest game, which guarantees that you'll get an item within the first 2 chests, so you don't have to spend all your money.
Yep, energy tank. Elminster gonna get his hammer. Is it hammer? Yeah, the hammer's here, isn't it?
Thieves Town is a fun one to run through early because a lot of the chests are front loaded. There are 4 in the opening area, with only one of them definitely going to be the big key.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hammer was in. I can't remember where the hammer was. And Zosti still.
Alright, our second Dark World trip. Here comes Elm.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna find his morph ball.
Usually, at least one of the runners who picks up Morph Ball will be persuaded to go in and start clearing out a bunch of Super Metroid, but we didn't see Solsky make that decision because Thieves Town was equally appealing given his items.
Mm-hmm. And Elminster gonna be picking up his morph ball, and there it is. Now he might, with those power bombs in hand, he'll probably make the trek into Super Metroid.
Entering through Norfair, no less.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I probably would have entered through Norfair as well. I mean, because you got super missiles, you can kill Kraid if you're skilled enough. Now, if they did pick up the plasma beam.
Yeah,
They have to turn on the plasma beam
that's correct.
and
Does not
and,
start off.
and the spacer, because bad things would happen if going from Link to the Past Super Metroid with those beams activated, it would break things, and he's remembering to turn on his plasma. And Solsky going through Thieves Town. Hammer blind fight does not sound fun right now.
They've got a decent number of hearts, though, at least.
Mm-hmm. Now, will we get Kraid DLC with Elminster?
Yeah, whenever someone actually fights the full Kraid fight, it's like bonus content.
Yep, DLC. Now, I've heard some people say taking Kraid to the prom, but I really don't like that phrase. I really don't.
regardless, I think all of our runners are good enough to get the quick kill, and we see one from Al.
Now, I've seen experienced runners miss the quick kill. And Zosti checking our friend Stumpy for some magic cape. And just for 5 arrows, that Kraid.
Nice cape, very fashionable.
Zosti farming up bombs. And elements are missing those damage boosts.
Damage boosts are one of those tricks I haven't quite got down yet, but I think most of them will pull them off pretty consistently.
Yep. And I can't do it. I cannot do a damage boost. I haven't figured out that trick. There's a lot of I can do more in Super Metroid or Link to the Past than I can in Super Metroid, and I grew up playing Super Metroid every day. I didn't like when I was a kid. I just didn't. I avoided Link to the Past.
Yeah, even though I had both of them on my Super Nintendo, I didn't finish Link to the Past until much later on in life. But Super Metroid is just a game that keeps on giving. I've explored and re-explored that map so many times. Just love it. Got Solsky on blind.
Solsky.
Oh no, it takes the death.
That's sad to see. Now, when you take a death on blind, it hurts you a little bit because his fight's not on script. And just 5 arrows at high jump. And Leno and Zosti gonna be getting their morph ball.
Solsky opting out of going back for that blind fight. No reason to do it right now. Just get towards where the progression is, come back with better items.
Where in the world is Leno going? Oh, Dark Kakariko. Village of Outcasts.
That's the name for it. I know a lot of the Link to the Past locations by description, but not sort of the formal running names.
Now, Elminster is going down to the Bomb Trezo. Interesting fun fact, and it's hard-coded in the game like this. This Bomb Trezo will not activate if you do not have regular Morph Ball bombs. Just the same like the chorizo that lowers the lava in Lower North Fair by Ridley. That chorizo will not activate if you don't have screw attack, or not screw attack, but space jump.
So Elm just coasted in, got those 50 rupees, waved hi to the statue, and pieced right out. We got a digging game check down here from Leno.
And Zosti check in old Mother Brain just for some missiles.
Did Leno not dig 30 spots, or maybe just miss the audio cue? Because within the first 30 digs, you're supposed to guarantee getting the item.
I really wasn't paying attention to Leno's screen. I kind of feel bad.
Ah, chat says it was a red rupee.
Yeah. Elminster checking the back of Gauntlet, see if Gauntlet will be. Ooh, I saw a shovel and something else.
So we're seeing a two-pronged attack on Super Metroid with Solsky coming in from the south and the rest of the runners coming in from the north.
Well, Solsky might just be going to Kraid real quick. Elminster heading into Brimstar. Now, I love this sequence break right here that Solsky or Zosti and Elminster are doing. The mock ball and trying to get to early Gauntlet. If you're skilled enough to jump that wall, more props to you.
Yep, and given their current items, both of those checks are in logic. We know it's at the back of the gauntlet, but we haven't seen the middle item yet, unless Zosti decides to go in.
Yeah, Zosti's going for Gauntlet. He knows he has enough power bombs to do it. Elminster going to get his energy tank. And nice with the escape on Elminster. I gotta give him props for that one. That's a very difficult trick to do.
No various suit yet for Zosti, so going into a place like this full of grabbers and really dangerous lava is, well, something we expect of Zosti, but not everyone can pull off.
And we got Kraid DLC on Solski's screen. I kind of missed it when it happened. Wah, wah, wah.
Elm's gonna pay a visit to everyone's favorite little munchkins, the Eticoons, who teach new players how to wall jump.
Yep, and you see Elminster wall jumping like a master. And speed booster for wall jump. That's a good find.
Oh yeah, it makes movement through Super Metroid so much easier. It opens up a couple of specifically speed booster lock locations too.
The Book of Medora. That's what that item was right after that long hallway. Now Zosti still has not turned on his plasma beam. Elminster doing a nice shine spark, heading towards the Indiana Jones room.
By the way, I love the community names that people have come up with for all these places. We're gonna hear of a couple of them later that are just the best.
And we got our first sword out of the Indiana Jones, or not the Indiana Jones escape room. My bad. That's Mission Impossible. My bad. Thank you, Link Force. Always correcting me.
Oh, that's right. I think Indiana Jones is down by Crocomere.
Yeah, it's the swingy rope right by the missiles. And you are correct.
This area that Elm just accessed is normally where you'd come out from Spore Spawn, a boss you see in almost no versions of Super Metroid speedruns, but I'm sure we all hated as a kid.
As soon as I figured out how to skip that Spore Spawn boss, I had to take the time and learn how to do that skip. I really did. I was watching a tutorial on how to skip that, just so I wouldn't have to. And Solski back in the Link to the Past, and never mind, he is now back in Super Metroid.
Yeah, this is a ripe time to run through Super Metroid for our runners, because honestly, you don't need that much, especially in hard mode, to just start traversing a good 2/3 of the world.
That is very true. And now, Elminster is in the waterway, and he's going to set up a short spark. And get super missiles.
Not bad. Even though you might not think it, that check in waterway without gravity suit is in logic for normal mode, because you have just enough room to get that shine spark on the ledge above without doing any fancy tricks. But that's just a tidbit for anyone wanting to tune into a normal race, perhaps next week.
I think it is next week. It alternates 1 week hard, 1 week easy. Or normal, not easy.
Yeah, to call any version of this easy, I don't know about that.
That's true. And Solski is now gonna dig it. Picking up that shovel. That was a really bad bump. And we got a mushroom on Elminster's side.
So Super Metroid holding a couple of our Link to the Past fetch quest items.
Do you like to do a fetch quest? That was a really good tone on my part. I don't usually sing that well. I gotta give myself props on that one.
Congrats.
See, Elminster going up, Red Tower, probably heading towards um, Vanilla Power Bombs and Wreck Ship.
What Elm is doing there, by the way, is pretty tricky because that block that you destroy at the top, that'll recreate itself after a couple of seconds. So if you get hit by one of those enemies as you're trying to wall jump up, it'll close. You have to fall back down, do it all over again.
I would like to still point out that Solsky still has not been to Eastern to get the flippers. So everything he's finding technically is out of logic.
But I think he's probably deduced that, right, given where he checked and didn't check in Link to the Past, and he's seen a lot of other sort of naturally flowing progression in the meantime.
And Elminster picking up that lovely little ice beam. Ice beam is probably one of my favorite weapons.
Yeah, just the idea of freezing an enemy and walking on top of them, like in the original Metroid, that was genius.
Yeah. Well, I like it, especially when you get the plasma and you're just like searching for things. Oh, vanilla power bombs. It's just you can run through it and like test things like, hey, I can do this if this enemy's here if I have ice beam. But you know. Now, what Zosty and Elminster, and you'll see a lot of these guys do in Super Metroid, is you'll see them wave their arm cannon up and down really, really fast. That's called arm pumping. And that slowly increases Samus's movement a pixel by pixel every time they do that weird shuffling of arm movement. Now, if you watch a Taskbot do this run, hold on one second. I'll finish my thought. Okay, he didn't get the full one. I was hoping he'd do the whole ocean glide. If you see a Taskbot do that arm pumping technique, you will see that arm hardly move or not move at all because it is moving so that Taskbot is doing it so fast, which is impressive. And Zosti almost taking a death, but getting
Bailed
saved
out by his reserve tanks.
A lot of runners don't pick up reserve tanks, but I like having reserve tanks.
We gotta see this Fantoon fight upcoming from Elm, because no various suit, 66 health. This could be very dicey.
And now, if he turns out to get, I don't know the name of this room, but if he turns out to get an energy tank in this room, it will be very beneficial to him. And
oh, clutch!
Yes, that is a nice energy tank to find. And Zosti heading to Billy May's room. And we got some missiles and behind door. Ooh, charge beam in Billy May's. Now
That's a bonus.
Yep, I don't think Zosti's activated. He still needs to activate his plasma.
Seems to be getting fine without it. It's there aren't too many enemies with a lot of hit points early, so you don't really notice its absence until you get into places like Meridia and Lower Norfair.
Yeah, I'd still like to turn it on, but I think what he's doing is he's keeping it off so he doesn't have to do that extra menu for an X factor.
Good point. Alright, we'll see if Elm will use a common speed tactic for finishing off Fantoon called the Doppler effect. That will be, after a few missiles have been pumped into the eye, Fantoon will go off screen or stay on screen like that, and the runner will move towards Fantoon as Fantoon is coming back, missile as many times as possible while Fantoon is stun locked, so to speak, and get in a lot more missile hits per round than is normally allowed. And just like that, Fantoon is dead.
And I am being called a witch for calling that energy tank inside a wrecked ship. That is it. Mind you, out of all the times I've commentated, and I've commentated a lot of races, that is the very first and only item I have ever called out and was completely guessing. So I'm going to
Well,
point that out there.
enjoy your 15 minutes of fame as a witch.
I know. I feel special. And now Elminster heading towards the attic. Now you'll see him do one of two things. He will get these items and go to the save station right slightly above this room. And he will save and head towards a energy tank location uh, right across some spiky room of death. Um, so if the item's not worth it, he can just save, quit, and call it a day. This is important because unlike Link to the Past, if you save and quit in Super Metroid, if you did not have a prior save, you lose every item that you got done collecting.
That's right. So we'll see a lot of strategic save warping from our runners. This is just one of the earliest and most prime examples of a place where the cost benefit, as well as the fact that you could just die, right? If you get caught in the spikes in the water, those things deal a lot of damage without area suit.
Mm-hmm. Zosti farming up some health. The way the items have been looking, I've got a feeling it's going to be Leno missing his ocean fly. The way items layout's gonna be, I got a feeling that Wreck Ship's going to have a lot of Legend of Zelda progression or Legend of Zelda items.
Yep, we got about 6 or so checks coming up in the rest of Wreck Ship from Elm. And so far, it hasn't been too fruitful, but you have to go here to kill Fantoon. We did get Ice Beam. Or
Mm-hmm.
sorry, Ice Beam was before that. Ice Beam was below in the vanilla power bombs.
Mm-hmm. Now, Solsky heading towards his Billy Mays room to find junk. Zosti heading towards Wreck Ship as well. Elminster and Attic. And Leno just chilling by the moat.
I think Leno might just be having some frame drops or a little bit of stream lag.
Mm. Yeah, but it's a good picture of Samus just chilling by the moat. And nice Shine Spark Ball by Elminster. Now he'll probably end up doing it, and it's a minor glitch. You'll see it's the Zebetite skip. If you damage, Samus's physics is weird when she gets damaged. You can push her into a wall. Ooh, a Boodle. And is it the blue Boodle? Yes.
Zosti check in the Criteria Supers. It's a check where you can get in there once you have Morph Ball power
Spring Ball.
bombs and your vertical. And yep, you got Spring Ball. Spring Ball is going to just make a couple of those like Morph Ball traversals a little bit easier, make it so they don't have to do midair morphs in certain small sections.
Mm-hmm.
It also saves on bombs, and they don't have vanilla or not vanilla. They don't have plain Morph Ball bombs right now, just power bombs. So that'll help runners conserve ammo.
Now, the super missile block that Elminster just broke is a rare super missile block. It is the only missile block in the whole entire game that respawns.
I didn't realize that. That's a
Mm-hmm.
good point.
And Zosti going for the ocean fly and missing it. I think his super missile and that zoomer is also on Elminster's screen. The only zoomer that is Samus color. And I'd like to also point out that Elminster does have enough health to do hell runs. Now Zosties with the charge beam in hand will be able to do X factors, which does each little orb thingy does a super missile's worth of damage if I'm correct.
Looks like we've got Leno's video back. That's good. And wow, all the way to past the Fantoon fight since our last check-in.
Ooh, Titan's Mitts on Elminster's screen.
Nice. So that is pretty much full Dark World access then. Since once you have level 2 mitts, you've got the Turtle Rock area, you've got Misery Mire area, given that we started with the flute.
And chat is helping me out with some information. Each little X factor blip does 300 damage.
That's a ton, because that's a super missile per.
Zosty finishing up his Fantoon. Elminster going to get his Spring Ball. Now we just got runners checking what other runners done, which is usually good, good sign that, there's no really new checks just until someone gets a wild hair and decides, hey, I'm gonna sequence break this.
Yeah, so far, all these similar paths suggest that the seed has given us a lot of natural, sort of linear progression. Like Wrecked Ship was the obvious play, given that they had Speed Booster to get across the moat. And all this so far has gone pretty smoothly.
I'm waiting for Solski's favorite is Gravity Suit behind check tool. Just because Zosty does not like check tool at all.
Even though he didn't have to, Zosty showed us a little bit of sponge bath powerbomb strats there.
Yeah, with that spring ball, he can do a lot of cool, nifty things.
Something tells me we're on the verge of our runners heading back into Link to the Past, given what they've just found and how much they're able to do now in the Dark World. But we could also see people try and make some lava dives in Lower Norfair, given that we're up around 4 or 5 energy tanks.
Yeah, Elminster does have enough energy tanks to do hell runs, so there is that.
Getting a bit more lag from Leno, but hopefully his stream will sort itself out over the course of the next few minutes.
Now, Elminster may be going into Super Metroid or Link to the Past for 2 reasons. 1, to actually do some progression, or 2, it is faster to go to Link to the Past. Oh, he has the Titan's Mitts. He can check out Mire Shed. It is also faster sometimes to go to Link to the Past, flute to where you need to go, and then warp into Super Metroid through one of the 4 warp points that are available to the runners.
Yep.
And I've seen some really creative, like Aussie. He did a wonderful trick, which he went into Link to the Past.
Bloomerang!
Or he was in Super Metroid, and he did Suitless and went to the portal that's in Meridia, and broke into Dark World through going down around that south shore and fake flippering where you'd fake flipper. Hi, Miss Metroid. You could go around the South Shore where you'd normally do the fake flipper, and get into Dark World that way. That is a very interesting way to get into Dark Death or Dark World.
Absolutely. We've also got an interesting choice someone could make would be to go into the back of back of Meridia for a very small check. They don't have a gravity suit right now, and even on hard mode, Dragon is not in logic without gravity suit. But given that they can get there pretty easily with just the flute, it might be worth checking out because there are open locations there.
However, suitless Meridio does require the high jump.
Yeah, so this would only be the portions at the very back, like the spot above the Dragon room, as well as I believe the E-tank that normally is an E-tank after bot room.
Alright, we are getting a sick kid check and fire rod on the sick kid. Well, he's using it to keep that bed warm.
I mean, yeah, that's why he's running a fever. He's been holding that rod the whole time.
I know. Alright, and Elminster doing his Dark World mat check. God. Tonight's not my night.
No
Map
worries.
check. And Zosti heading down his power bomb, Frizo, wreck ship reserve.
A funny thing about these four-way races, it's normally quite difficult to keep track of where everyone is, what's going on, and all the new checks and stuff that are coming on the 4 different screens, but we're really just seeing, like we said earlier, the same progression where everyone's kind of following in the other runner's footsteps, so it hasn't been too hard to keep track of the action, though still no idea how far Leno is behind or ahead because I haven't seen a stream update in a while.
Yeah, we know he's finished Fantoon and he's just checking. I'd like to make a reminder, please follow all these great runners as well as our tracker and the other commentator. They probably stream way more than I do. They're putting on a great show. Just don't forget to follow these guys. Also, Leno is also happens to be one of the developers for the new logic that's coming.
Yes, and mad props to anyone who's been part of the development for this game. You know, this stuff is all community supported, and it's just really a wonder that it exists and it's getting updates and support.
Now, Cheesinator, I have to ask you, do you understand why these games mesh so well?
I do. Would you like to explain it to chat?
Yes, I would, actually, since we're getting someone... Oh, Solsky taking a death in the spiky room of death, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's why we save.
Yep. Ooh. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Each one of these games uses different sections of SRAM on their cartridge. And it's a miracle that these games, because Link to the Past item uses half a certain part of SRAM compared to Super Metroid. That being said, these games can be mixed together because they are held in different portions of said cartridge.
So for the programmers out there, that means that they're not going to be writing to each other's memory addresses, so we don't have to worry about the state between the two games getting lost.
Exactly. I'm not much of a programmer. I do understand a little bit about how SRAM works. I've been having RAM problems in other situations, especially at work, but I do know a little bit. In fact, if you try to exceed a certain amount of RAM, however, it causes crash. I have crashed my work computer because of this.
Looks like Solsti's going to pass up 300 rupees of cold hard cash in favor of anything else.
Yeah.
Zosti are second to the sick kid Fire Rod. Well, could be third. We just don't know what's going on with Leno right now.
Zosti and Death Mountain. Elements are going. Solski's in that weird limbo place because in order to get this far, he has sequence broke the flippers. So everything he's getting right now is technically out of logic for him because he fake flippered to get the gloves, which led him to the hammer and the moon, or not the hammer, my bad. Hammer was in Mini Mole. Which led him to the Moon Pearl, which led him to the Morph Ball and Hype Cave. Zosti saving the old man. Solski power bombing for some reason, probably thinking there's something behind there. Thank you, Link Force. Wait a minute, I did say those locations, didn't I?
Just by virtue of execution and really kind of following the progression path without any hiccups so far, it looks like Elm has just a bit of a lead, but honestly, it could very easily go anyone's way. We're still too early in the run, only coming up on about an hour to call it either way. There's a lot of variance that can happen yet with those out-of-the-way checks in both games.
And looks like Zosti's heading towards Bubble Mountain, and Elminster taking down Blind, and his reward $20.
But a crystal, so worth.
Yep. Yes, Elminster does not have charge because he did not go to Billy Mays.
One thing worth pointing out about the distinction between charge, not charge, is that the game is beatable with or without it. However, you need a certain number of ammo, in fact, quite a lot of super missiles in the case of bosses like Ridley and Mother Brain in order to beat the game without charge beam. But Blue Brinstar area, usually fully cleared out because it's fairly item dense, so I don't think anyone's going to miss charge beam this game.
And I still don't think Zosti is turned on wave beam or plasma beam yet. Ooh, level 2 sword on behind Crocomire. And Elminster inside of Skull Woods.
We got a little bit of a conversation about the crystal flash technique in chat, which is just one of my favorites. Not to be punny, but it's really flashy. Like, you use some of your ammo reserves, turn it into a full tank of health, and it was a move intended by the developers. As chat points out, it's in the previews if you let the opening scroll of Super Metroid play.
And Zosti was trying to set up a spike suit, but kinda got shut down on that one. Oh, Blue Mail is what that Chozo had right before Wreck Ship Reserve.
It's funny seeing that item just kind of float in midair like that.
And Solski getting his Titan's mitts.
Zosti's in the Crocomire area without Varia, so has to load back up on health. But we are seeing our first check of everyone's favorite Croc, and you always bet on Croc.
He's usually a load of Croc. Boom. Yeah, bad.
Womp womp.
Yeah. I'm not really punning tonight. Elminster is going through Skull Woods, and I've been paying attention to more Super Metroid than Link to the Past right now. I kind of missed out on over half of Skull Woods.
Yeah, now we've got that dynamic going on where we've got two different runners showing us progression in vastly different parts of the game, but all of it looks like required as Skull Woods is a crystal here.
Hmm. And now we are heading towards Indiana Jones, which is only 20 bucks, and Zosti firing an angry ice beam at it. And Elminster heading towards the Big Bag Moth.
Ooh,
Red
Cane of
Cane
Samaria.
and the Cosine Room. That's a nice find.
Yep, Cane of Samaria is a progression item on the vast majority of Link to the Past randomizer seeds, though I've been privy to just recently seeing some that didn't have it because Misery Mire and Turtle Rock were both pendants.
Hmm. And Elminster doing hammer strats on the Big Bad Moth and getting 20 bucks for his trouble.
Nice. Rich.
I like Shaq Tool as well. I hope he's hiding an item so we could just see him this race, because Shaq Tool is worth seeing every single race. Now, I wonder if Zosti will ever turn on his plasma beam. Now, he might if he happens to pick up Spazer on accident, but Zosti's not one of those runners to pick up Spazer unless he forgot he has plasma.
Yeah, there's just no reason for Spazer. It doesn't combine with Plasma. It's not a substantial power upgrade over, say, Wave Ice Charge.
That is true. And we are in Bubble Mountain on Zostes, and Elminster is now back in Super Metroid.
Bubble Mountain is a really nice visual callback to the first Metroid for those of you out there who played it. The Norfair and first Metroid had purple bubbly areas and green bubbly areas, the green ones being a little bit closer to Ridley's lair. And yeah, just get a hit of that nostalgia whenever I see it.
And Brimstar Reserve, or Norfair Reserve, only has some love and some more love. Elminster heading towards Ice Beam. Ooh, don't die, Zosti. He's probably going to take a safety stave. Or not.
No, he should be good with his reserves, and then he's got a refill coming up right here at the top.
Hmm. Now, I like what the developers of Super Metroid did. They really did a good job of placing, like, this game is built to be sequence broken, which is nice.
Yeah, they give people a lot of tools, even without any glitches whatsoever. Just things like wall jumping, infinite bomb jumping, and stuff. Like they give you so much freedom. It's not a design choice we saw from them again for quite a while in the Metroid series.
Hmm. I mean, if Super Metroid's one of those games that you can constantly play over and over, and even in the vanilla state, you don't have to play Randomizer to get a different experience out of each one. Now, Zosti, I forgot about this location until Zosti's coming up on it. This is another one of those little quirky little activation things. If you do not have Speed Booster when you leave this room, ooh, a shield. The lava will not rise if you do not have Speed Booster. But since he does have Speed Booster, the lava will rise. Yeah, the sequence breaks kind of did slow down on Fusion. However, you can somewhat sequence break Zero Mission if you really want to.
Yeah, Zero Mission. They kind of went halfway back, and they gave players the ability to go and do like full like trick full clears of certain portions of the game. But it's really a lot of the free roaming portions of it are delayed until the near the end.
Mm-hmm. Um, Elminster heading towards his speed booster location, and Zosty heading towards Wave. He still has not turned on that plasma beam. He saw it. I know he probably saw it when he clicked off ice.
Maybe he's just flexing on everyone. He doesn't need plasma beam. He's one of the best runners in the world.
And Mega Man has Quick Man. I think that's like the one of the fastest robot masters. And that's in Mega Man 2. That's Quick Man. Oh, the script you're talking about, Deadlick, is if you miss the fusion missiles by doing a tricky set of shine sparks and other maneuvers, the game tells you, hey, good job, now go back and go get it. But you really cannot sequence breaks Metroid Fusion. It's one of those. I like Fusion as a game, but it's not my go-to handheld Metroid. I'd say Metroid Zero Mission's my good handheld. Hey, Zosty, turning on that plasma.
All right, now we're gonna see some enemies blow up real quick.
Yep. And yes, Elminster is on the right path. He's still in sequence. Solski is the only one that is not in sequence right now.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. All these locations down here, or at least in green, Norfair didn't turn anything up, but the cane being down near Crockmere means it's a good check for everyone.
Mm-hmm. And Elminster heading back into Link to the Past again. Now if he made the trip to Croc, or not the Croc, yeah, down to Croc, he'd get his level 2 sword.
Oh, Zostia got trapped without enough energy at the. Oh, never mind. I shouldn't have put it past him. Of course, he had a crystal flash up his sleeve. I was like, there goes the health. Oh no, what's gonna happen? And of course, he's fine.
I completely and Solski making a trip to the Billy Mace room, I missed. And Leno has not came back in a long time.
A fun note for anyone watching in chat who's wondering what the heck Crockmeyer is doing. The developers obviously didn't intend for anyone to have Plasma Beam as early as they do, but you come down here with Charge and Plasma, you can put a shot into Crockmeyer's face that will hit him multiple times, like once every frame, doing that huge damage that it already does, and it's enough to just force Crockmeyer back completely, as Crockmeyer's death is based on the movement tiles that the damage does, not on the raw damage that Crockmire takes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the plasma beam break. Like if you get plasma beam early enough in Super Metroid, it tends to do weird things with certain bosses, like Phantoon and Dragon. If you happen to have the plasma beam and X-ray scope, ooh, gravity.
Oh wow! Wait, no, it's Varia, but it's in like the most kind of ironically Varia necessary spot in the game, in the middle of the cathedral, I think it's called.
Yes. Well, this is gonna really vary how the race goes.
Hey,
Oh.
hey, hey!
This is I mean, like this is a one good find
Yeah,
for.
huge payoff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's an example for everyone in chat of sort of a very hard logic specific block we could find where the various suit is behind the lava dive in the lava itself. And Zosti only wanted to check it, and it's going to pay off in form of being able to beat all of Super Metroid's lower Norfair area.
Yep. Also, with that flute, I think he has Titans. Yes, he has Titans. With those Titans mitts, he is also able to go to lower Norfair a lot safer and take care of Ridley. And Zosti pulling off some nice little bomb shots, and Elminster heading to the Ice Palace. Um, but yeah, having that Various suit helps out Zusti quite a bit. He can either A, choose to go to Lava Dive, or B, if he remembers the access and remembers, hey, I got Titan's Mitts and a flute, I can head to Lower Norfair right now and take care of Ridley. But he still has to take care of Kraid. I forgot he still has not done this.
Oh boy, so this room, or this section of rooms here that Elma's going through, I'm used to having hook shot and just one-shotting these penguins, but trying to navigate around on the ice and finish them off is just no fun. Well, it's fun for some people, you know,
Ice Fit,
masochists.
Ice physics is not fun sometimes. We are an hour and 10 minutes in, and we are now starting to see some major progression, which is nice. This is going to be a good seat.
Yeah, we are only, I want to say, gravity suit off of Super Metroid Go mode now, which granted doesn't take a lot of items.
Yeah, I mean, if they find high jump, they'll be in Super Metroid Go mode, because they got the spring ball. High jump is what they need to do suitless.
Yeah, I think so. At least Elm and Zosti and probably Solski, there are methods for getting, for fighting and getting out of Dragon without gravity suit. However, even the hard mode logic won't require it. So depending if gravity suit doesn't show up anywhere convenient, they might just do that, get it taken care of, and finish the game without gravity suit, which would mean that they need. I think, yeah, high jump, as you were saying, because all the suitless stuff would put them in a different kind of go mode.
And elements are getting a fairy drop, and the fairy's not being really nice.
This bomb jump Alma's about to do, really useful if you go into Ice Palace without Cane of Samaria, which, because of not checking Crocomir, Alma doesn't have yet, makes it so you can just sail through without going through a number of rooms.
And Zosti, what are you doing? I think he's gonna check Left Mire Shed, check the medallion required for Bombos is needed for Misery Mire exit.
Ooh, let's see, does Elm have any potions? Or are we just gonna
He
hope to make it on this next bomb jump?
he has a blue potion.
Ah, fantastic.
This bomb jump is really difficult. And Zosti heading to Lower Norfair like I suspect he was going to. And the Cane of Brian on Screw Attack. And Elminster gets it.
That's good to see. Love it when a hard trick pays off for a runner. So Zosti's on the Golden Chorizo statue right now, doing a pretty quick kill on it by crouching right in front of it in a sort of a safe zone, and then using both the L and R aim triggers to aim straight up from the crouch. And oh, look at that! There's a mirror that's space jump locked. So that could throw a big wrench in the progression with this seed.
Well, him knowing that it's space jump locked gives him a good advantage. Because
Absolutely. Yeah, that's probably one of the more lucrative Golden Chorizo areas I've seen recently with the mirror and a sword upgrade. So it's going to be advantageous for everyone to go down there.
There was a sword upgrade up there?
Yeah, I was on the right side.
Ah. Our tracker missed it.
No worries, I'm sure it'll all get caught up in short form. By the way, shout out to our tracker Link Force. This is really hard job to do.
Yeah, Link Force is he's a machine that the developers built that tracks everything as they collect. It's an amazing props to Link Force. He's just a machine. Yeah, Link Force is like a machine when it comes to these tracking.
Yeah, Slowski just taken a death there while I was watching Elm. Did you see what happened?
No, I missed it. I was sidetracked with something else, sir. Heat damage, according to our tracker.
Man, hopefully stumbles across that Varia suit on this pass out of Norfair.
Mm-hmm. It's a good item to pick up. And Elminster heading straight towards Cold Stare. Ow! I'm sorry. I'm having kitty problems.
Fortunately, none of our runners can die to cat attacks, but the commentators are not safe.
Especially with this thing. I love my cat to death, but I mean, sometimes he wants to do what he wants to do. Anyway, back to the race. Elminster getting in on this. Elminster getting on his Cold Stare fight.
This is Sword 1, Hammer, of course, he's going to use the hammer. No half magic, Flame Rod, so. Oh,
He
but
does have.
yeah, the refill got him through it. That's a good strategy.
He does have a blue mail though, so this is gonna help. And using that hammer hammer strats on Cold Stare, hammer strats in general are just rough.
So the falling ice blocks were doing 1 damage, but I think if he'd gotten hit by the eyeball, that might have been game over. Cold Stare does a ton of damage.
We have Aussie inside of Ice Palace as well.
Oh, yes, we've gotten a stream change up. We had indefinite or unfixable delay from our previous runner, Leno, so we've switched around the featured stream to get you all 33% more entertainment.
Yep, and our tracker is going to be digital or digit.
Diligently, is that the word you're looking for?
Yes, it is. Thank you very much. Updating the tracker as see fit. So in this time, why he is updating the tracker, if we commentators miss an item to call out, please inform. He found Space Jump, apparently.
Well, so did Elm. It looks like it was an ice palace, so that's going to be getting us to that mirror that Zosti saw earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why our tracker updates his information. Um, and everything. If we happen to miss an item, please let the tracker know.
So Elman just made a suitless check of the Golden Trees. I wasn't going to be able to win that fight without various suit, but knows that there's important progression there, so we'll definitely be coming back.
Now, if he made his way to Cathedral, see, I think Cathedral's one of those things that he probably won't think about checking.
Yeah, it's one kind of isolated item in the middle of a hell run, basically. And if you stop in the middle of that room to check, you're taking damage for longer. You've got to go down into the lava to get the item. The last time he was around there, he didn't have as many energy tanks. So it's just sometimes it's something you don't think to do, or it's unsafe to even try.
Now, what Elminster did, he did save and quit. He didn't get it. He only got the Cane of Brian. He's not worried about losing that. But if you save and exit out of Super Metroid after transitioning from Link to the Past, you will automatically go to the ship.
Yep, and our runners wisely will use that for a lot of their early game routing, and as well as in the late game when you want to just get right on into Torian, you can be at the ship, full health, go straight there.
Honestly, taking the big bomb up.
Ooh, gonna get our first bomb fairy check. As a kid, I didn't know about this whole fairy bomb situation forever. I just looked at that crack and was like, ah, and went to fight Ganon.
Gravity suit. No suitless Meridia, but that is a good find.
Wow, all these clutch items are coming in at kind of like spread out places, things that people might not check immediately. So we've got some suit advantages now spread around between our runners.
Now, I would like to remind chat that the gravity suit does not give you protection from heat. That feature of the gravity suit has been removed.
Yeah, it really gives each of the suits a unique role to find in the randomizer. One of them gives you water, the other one gives you damage reduction and heat. Really just kind of more logical than the way that the gravity suit's a superset of the abilities in vanilla game.
Oh yeah. And Solsky missing his shine spark through this room. And Elminster heading to get his charge beam.
So while Elm had that early game lead that we were talking about, short of an hour, he's now going to be checking all of these different spots to try and find that Various suit in order to go down into Lower Norfair, get the mirror that he just saw at the space jump locked location. But could take him a while to catch all those spots, and in the meantime, everyone else has something that's pushing them forward.
That is correct.
Yeah, question in chat about the lava damage negation for the suits. Varia is normally or intuitively the heat reducer, but gravity has its own way of eliminating damage from one of the weaker kinds of lava in the game, and it's the kind that blocks the lava dive into Lower Norfair.
Zosti on his blind fight. Gonna get that taken care of.
Sosuke fell down the one-way trip, has to go back around.
Aussie picking up his Chartream.
Wonder what Elm could be looking for here. And oh, going back into Link to the Past, possibly to route immediately back into Super Metroid. Given that he's got those clues about what he needs, he just hasn't been able to dig them out. And there's nothing left in the upper part of Super Metroid for him.
Mm-hmm. That Ice Palace play really paid off for him.
Phew, and Solsky's through that room with the rising lava, but into the worst room in the game, as it's known. Fortunately, with the set of items available, should have a shot at climbing up this without too much interruption. Zosti is on the fetch quest sequence right now in Link to the Past, hitting up some of these checks that are all located right around. What was it called again? The Village of Outcasts. Yes.
That is correct.
He's got his friend Jeremiah in tow.
Now, did you know you can take Jeremiah into the Ganon fight?
I did not, but honestly, I could use any amount of help I can get, even if Jeremiah is just there, like, rooting for me from the sidelines. This is fantastic here. Alan is just saying, you know what? I don't know where this various suit is, but I need that mirror to keep this run going. So we got a really deep dive into Lower Norfair here. But looks like between what's in the energy and the reserve tanks, he's gonna make it.
He does have a Crystal Flash available to him, though.
Yep. And we'll see one right about here.
I do love the music of Lower Norfair.
Yeah, so what Elm's probably thinking right now is like, oh wow, you know, Varisuit, it's totally in logic. Don't know where it was, but I completely missed it. Or maybe he's deduced that it was in an out of the way place that he just isn't able to route back in a check for. But if he gets through this Kozo fight, or it's not Kozo, Golden
Chozo.
Chorizo fight, yeah, Chozo, whatever, he'll be able to get back into Link to the Past to safety, get out of this heat, and just keep progressing on the Link to the Past side of things. But eventually, there'll either be another lava dive into Lower Norfair to fight Ridley, or some other strategy, because Ridley is required, and you need Various Suit really badly for that section in Norfair.
Yes, he does. He gets his Master Sword finally. Solsky doing round 2 of Blind. And I missed what was that X-ray.
Yes, I was watching our fearless lava diving Elminster.
Mm-hmm.
Link Force says it's just missiles at X-ray.
And I think Zosti's preparing for a magic bat check with fake powder.
Ooh, yeah, fake powder, for those who don't know, it's just a way that you can take your mushroom and use it as fake powder. It eliminates one of the fetch quest items being needed. The only other thing that magic powder does besides the fetch quest is turn those little, I don't even know what they're called, those little like enemies that bounce around in Link to the Past dungeons, and you can turn them into fairies.
Anti-fairies.
Anti-fairies, there you go. Turns anti-fairies into fairies.
And the magic bat has... And Aussie is inside of Meridia.
Ooh, really nice short charge there by Aussie. There's just almost no space at the bottom of that room. You have to be like frame perfect on those little stutter stop short charges. Getting a ether tablet check here from Elm.
Some super missiles. He's probably gonna head up to Tower Hera. Zosti turning to mushrooms just for some missiles. Wah wah.
Aussie's probably going to head over to everyone's favorite turtle family in just a moment. The baby turtles walk around, and then Samus shoots them like the vicious hunter she is, and the turtle gets super mad and starts ramming around the room. Oh, never mind. We got a pacifist Samus this game. Not going to be shooting the baby turtles.
Yeah, you can't kill him, so there's really no point.
Except, I don't know, animal cruelty. Call PETA.
And Red Mail on the floating island. And Elminster. Oh, I thought he got rock blocked there for a second.
Seeing that red mail there is one of those things where, for me as a more casual runner, I'm going to get it every time because I need the damage reduction, or else, Ganon's Tower, I'm going to be done for. But if you got more experienced runners, they'll often just say, hey, that's too much time, I'm on track, I'm just going to keep running and ignore the armor. But finally getting to see all these Death Mountain caves here, or at least some of the Death Mountain caves from Elm.
Super Bunny yields nothing exciting. Zosti inside of Ice Palace.
And Solsky is this, I believe this is the first person who visited Desert, but already out. Yeah, now we've got the new content on 4 different screens, so everybody get out your 3rd and 4th eyeballs to follow along. As noted by our tracker in chat, the Desert Palace is boots locked and it's a crystal, so we're going to find those boots somewhere. Nice bomb jump from Zosti.
Solsky in the front half of Escape, and Aussie on Bottoon,
Yep. And not very intimidating boss, just given the low amount of HP. Very frequently you'll see runners 1 or 2 cycle it with super missiles, or in this case, fully charged plasma beam.
That plasma beam really like there's some bosses that really do not like plasma beam whatsoever.
Got Ozzy making his way across the Coliseum. Is that what this one's called?
I think so.
Yes, it's a room where sometimes you'll see a really flashy move called the full halfie. Maybe when Zosti gets over there, we'll see someone pull it off. You have a 4-frame window to do a shine spark across the entirety of that room. So we got a Dragon fight, no grapple beam available, so we won't get the electrocution kill, but possibly going to see the speed booster sort of Shine Spark plus what is it? X Factor. Actually, no X Factor. Just gonna go with the Charge Plasma Beam shots.
Charge Plasma does a lot of damage. Elminster, it's Spike Cave. So Solsky finally getting around to checking Eastern. Just for 10 arrows.
Yeah, Spike Cave is interesting in that there's only one thing that Cane of Birna puts in logic, and it's that. But it can also be done with just a lot of health and half magic, with the the cape, or any number of other combinations involving a lot of health. So it's like just goes to show how unexciting Cane of Birna is unless you really need the damage reduction somewhere else in the game.
That is true. And now once you're gonna be finding out that Desert is Boots locked.
Hey, and at 136 we got Solsky getting those flippers.
Yep.
Chat pointed out that Cane of Bryna, or Brian, or whatever nickname we're giving it today, is handy for the blind fight, and that's true because you get to stay safe and do damage simultaneously. Zosty giving those monsters to run around, didn't want to use any magic to kill them, just sailing on through. We've got Aussie here saving in the pipe area of Meridia. Going to go check out what's in these drop-down sand dunes. And just some missiles on that side. So taking advantage of the save and reset trick for routing. Yeah, sand pits, not sand dunes. Zosty in here to give the boss of Ice Palace the business. With that tempered sword, it's not too much trouble at all.
That is true. Elminster on his Landmo fight.
Yep, and coming in with Fire Rod, definitely a big advantage. You know, it's more of a late game item and really just melts Landma.
That is very true.
Ozzy went all the way back up the tube and is going to come into the plasma beam from the top side, and fortunately has all the requisite items to make that check. Fun fact, if you go into plasma beam room, it's a really easy soft lock unless you have plasma itself, or speed booster, screw attack, or charge beam in order to find some way to deal damage to the pink space pirates. Sees an energy tank, knows he doesn't need it, so we're going to be heading right back out. The critical threshold for energy tanks in a run like this is 7, given what it enables for the Mother Brain fight later. We'll talk more about that trick, I suppose, as our runners approach the end of Super Metroid. It's looking like Zosty's going to be our first to actually complete Lower Norfair and go all the way to Ridley, given that he's the first to come down here with the various suit in tow.
He's gonna pick up that mirror first, though.
Yeah, it's a pretty late mirror, all things considered. I've seen and played a lot of Seeds, and having anything locked by the space jump slot in Lower Norfair is already pretty rare, but to have it be like a mid-game progression item for Link to the Past is even more surprising.
Where was Gravity Suit? I cannot remember. Oh, Pyramid Fairy.
And at 141, no, that's our second mirror. Never mind. Elm went in for the lava dive. So our first in logic mirror from Zosty. Ooh, we might see Elm check front of pod here. It's a pendant dungeon this game, but it's also pretty item dense, so could have progression available. Yeah, Palace of Darkness. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, the space jump makes quick work of the hardest room in the game.
Yeah, and the big lava room coming up as well. Just getting through those things with more pedestrian movement tactics is just very difficult.
You know, I wish I could rent a monkey for $100 like Link does.
I'm sure there's somewhere you can, but at that price, it's probably going to be pretty inhumane. So I'm personally going to be leaving the monkeys all out in the wild to themselves.
That's true, but I want my own monkey. Now, I can't remember. There's a stipulation that says this is bow locked if you don't have a key there.
Yeah. So Palace of Darkness has some. A fraction of it is bow locked, which runners will often get around using a potion glitch that we might see from Elm. And indeed, the bow has not come up yet this game. So just saying, my early game prediction of the bow being late and trolling our runners could still come to pass.
Yeah, I still say it's the hook shot, though.
Actually, that's true. We're both on track.
Now that'd be funny when if Elminster found the bow in the iced tea room. That mean the bow is locked behind hook shot, but you know, it is what it is. I'm trying to think what could go on pedestal right now. What could be on pedestal? We know bombos can't be on ped. Bow can't be on pedestal. Hookshot could be on pedestal.
Yeah, I'm a little bit fuzzy on the specific, like, what can and can't sort of get pushed into a certain location, kind of deep in Link to the Past. I haven't run a ton of the Link to the Past randomizer specifically.
It's simple common logic deduction. Like, we know bow can't be on pedestal because bow is required to get into pod. Boots could be on pedestal because none of the dungeons require boots. Ice Rod could be on pedestal, like chat pointing out, and Zosty with a really good Ridley fight.
Yep, we expect nothing less from one of the best runners,
Mm-hmm.
but only a missile as the reward.
Mm-hmm. So right now we're looking at boots, both sets of boots, high jump boots and speed boots, um,
Ooh,
ice rod and hook shot.
so this is actually a pretty gambly check for Elm because he's in pod without the bow and without the lamp, so we're doubly out of logic for these dark rooms, these bow locked areas. So hopefully it turns up something else that puts another one of the crystal dungeons in play or something, because otherwise, this being a pendant, it's just really risky.
Mm-hmm. And Link Force putting a uh thing in my logic. Boots could not be probably on ped if they were the item. Boots or hook shots in the air on ped because one of those two items is required to get into mire.
Got Ozzy doing a lava dive of sorts on the hunt for that various suit that still only half of our runners on screen have managed to locate.
Mm-hmm.
But Zosti's given our first look at the checks that follow from exiting out of Ridley's part of Lower Norfair.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah, so Grapple Beam, totally skippable for Super Metroid Go mode, but it helps getting to Shack Tool a lot easier. Shack Tool can be in Logic and hard Super Metroid with a bevy of other movement items plus Ice Beam, which will give you a clipping skip back in the sand pit area where the Shack Tool entrance is, but Grapple Beam makes that check a lot easier. It's also the most out of the way check in the game for Super Metroid, so not something you want to have to do.
Mm-hmm. And Elminster heading towards the Pyramid Ferry, and he's gonna get his gravity suit.
Nice, well that really increases the gravity of the situation.
Yes, it does. Did Solsky find the boots somewhere? I thought Desert was boost locked.
We've seen two runners complete the desert now, but I haven't been watching for the boots. Link Force is the right side is boots locked.
Ah. Thank you for clarifying that, Link Force.
So if we're looking at a combination of Super Metroid bosses completed and Crystal Dungeons completed, there's a tie right now between actually three of our runners, but we know that Elm is still blocked by that tricky Various Suit location, so it might be a little while before he's able to catch up, and he's not going back into uh, the cathedral, so still going to be a while. Might just do all of Meridia first, hoping it turns up.
Mm-hmm. Meridia go. If he could go mode Meridia, he would have a really easy time. And Solsky inside of Ice Palace. And Zosti heading towards the Tower of Hera.
Definitely going to pass by, but probably not dip in unless he's really desperate for a certain item. Because we've got Fire Rod, Canis Amoria, we got all the necessary access. Oh no, we don't have Bombos. Where's Bombos? One runner has it. Chat, where did Elm find bombos? Ah, it was in pod. Oh, that is bizarre logic. We are just going to be bouncing all over the place.
I think it was in one of the dark rooms.
So, Lamp is out there somewhere, and it's gating bombos, which is gating Turtle Rock, which might have something like Bow to go. Oh, wow. This is just the link to the past logic in this seed is all over the place.
Well, that being said, I mean,
And the lamp is at the Crab Supers in Meridia notes our tracker.
Link Force, thank you very much.
Yeah, we've got two commentators here, and like between us, we can't even keep up as well as our tracker. So thanks again to Link Force.
Well, one of your commentators is, recovering from a cold and very, sick. But that's beside the point. I may not sound it. I am sick.
Well, hope you get a good night of rest and get well soon.
I will. I would like to add, don't forget to follow these wonderful runners who's putting on an awesome show from us, or for you guys. Yeah, Link Force is the awesome tracker.
And Elm still progressing through Meridia, just picking up the hearts here at the. I don't know the name of that location either. It's a watery thing at the north.
It's called the wishing. It's called the wishing well.
The wishing well. Okay. Or watering hole in chat. Wishing well, watering hole.
And Aussie is varying his situation with the suit upgrade he found a little bit ago.
Hey, alright, so Aussie catching up with the ability to check lower Norfair. Full clear that.
Yep.
Wait. Oh, you know what? This will be this will be Aussie's Cane of Samaria here if this is in fact his first time going down to fight Crocomir and below. We see the Cane of Samaria on the tracker, but that might have just been a mistake. Oh, Link Force saying Ozzy died, actually. That makes sense. A 100% of the times that we think the tracker is wrong, it's actually nope.
Yeah, tracker's never wrong. Especially if it's Link Force. Link Force is a amazing tracker. I mean, never mind. I'm gonna leave that alone. And Elements are taking one of the safety saves, finding junk in the left sandpit. I think he's gonna go down the right this time.
Yeah, and this will actually be.
It was the right sandpit. He's now going down the left.
I wonder if he'll be desperate enough to try for the ice clip. Which I guess it's not too bad, but the ice clip to get to Shack Tool just because, still hasn't found that various suit.
Yeah, or grapple beam. The ice clip is not in logic for Shack Tool, I don't think, though.
Yeah, because grapple beam is behind various suit, but he doesn't know that, right? He's got to take some more bets, assuming that he's behind from missing the various suit.
Yeah, that's true. But I think he needs the grapple beam. Grapple beam is, one of those items that he would need to help him out with this endeavor.
Yeah, it would help. In hard mode, you don't need the grapple beam like you do in normal mode because there is that ice clip available off the little worm enemy to get into Shack Tool's room. And that is a very dead snake on Elm's screen.
A very quick dead snake. I barely heard the boss music before the darn thing died.
Ooh, chance for oh no, yeah, he dropped a wall jump, so no full halfie for Elm.
And Aussie doing a lava dive and making
The au natural lava dive with all the expected movement items and suits. Cold stare fight here from Solsky, busting out the hammer as it's a little bit more DPS than his level 2 sword. So far, runners all just kind of crisscrossing each other, doing different required dungeons and bosses that we've seen from other runners at points. So no new content just yet, but everyone doing what it takes to get closer to the end game. And more charge plasma strats on Dragon, because why not? The Shine Spark strats are more of a low percent thing, or any percent in the case where you come in here with weaker beams. So the two big crystal dungeons that we've seen nobody meander into are Swamp Palace, which is still hookshot locked, at least for portions of its items, and of course completing it, as well as Turtle Rock, which is for some runners still locked by the bombos they haven't acquired yet. So those being our last two big areas in Link to the Past, and hookshot obviously can't be in Swamp Palace, so I guess my bet is Bow in Swamp and hookshot in Turtle Rock, but we'll see. Good point from Link Force. Hookshot could also be in a pre-hookshot part of Swamp. Oh god, yeah. Another good point. I haven't played the vanilla game in so long. That's actually where you get hookshot. Alright, another trip into Upper Norfair for Elm. This is going to be the time. He's got to get it this time, I think. Unless we're going to see the full Lower Norfair super lava dive with no suit, and I just, yeah, that's crazy. Here he goes. Finally remembered this location. Yes, Miss Metroid, the randomizer really does things to your head. Not all of them good. I've gotten so deep into the logic of this stuff that the games are just kind of blurring together. All right, seeing a bit of convergence as three of our runners have been led into or towards Lower Norfair, which of course Zosty is well past, and that probably gives Zosty the edge as he can start progressing to the next Super Metroid bosses or Link to the Past dungeons shortly. Ridley fight from Aussie shouldn't be any trouble. When you have all suits plus lots of ammo and health, Ridley is much easier to take care of. Zosty used Fairy to fill up his bottle, but only got a bug out of it, so not useful for potion glitch or for refilling health or magic. Mickey Mouse room, checking, of course, again for us, but for the first time for Elm, and it's just a couple pairs of bombs. So I just had to point out Mickey Mouse room because it's another one of those lovingly fan-named places. Yes, Abnaxis. The bee in the bottle, the good bee anyways, does damage to enemies. I'm not sure about the bad bee. Check tool has not been checked by any runner yet, Dedalic. I think check tool is one of those ones you just bet your life that nothing is there. Ooh, Zosty picking up the hook shot. And just to show off that he got his hook shot, he hooks his way across that gap, probably doing some of these upper Dark World checks here, like Graveyard Ledge and the tomb, I guess, it's like the King's Tomb.
Mm-hmm.
And our first Ridley fight with audio, and also only 300 health, but, you know, shouldn't be a problem. Nothing at Graveyard Ledge Cave for Zosty. So I guess we're getting close on items for talking about both game go mode. Zosty still needs his bombos, bow, and ice rod. Ooh, chat hypothesizing that the ice rod's on Ped. You never know. Hey, and if that happens, it's more content for all of us. We get to see all of the pendant dungeons completed. In the brief time I've been watching these randomizer runs and getting into the community, I've seen Agaseeds, but I still have not seen a Ped seed for the crossover. I have seen more variants from the pure Link to the Past, as well as Link to the Past randomizer has lots of custom modes, such as all dungeons, where of course you can see all the pendant dungeons and Aghanim completed. Yeah, it's worth pointing out, as people in chat have mentioned, that we're getting close to 100%ing these games. At least Super Metroid is going to have almost all of its locations checked, and that is a byproduct of making boss fights a lot healthier because you incidentally run into more ammo and energy tanks, as well as making it so we don't have to see as many of the difficult tricks to accomplish things because you'll just be so loaded up on resources before you go and do them. So really, this game's Super Metroid hard stuff has been limited to like the Norfair Hell runs and perhaps some other things I'm forgetting. Chat might be able to remind me. Oh, wow. Clutch escape there from Elm. Those things just deal heck of damage, and when you've got no screw attack, it's really hard to get past them. Key hunters, they're called. Sad times here for Ozzy doing the check with that without boots, so you don't get to see the bug that's in the original Japanese version of Link to the Past, the one that this ROM is based off of, where you can use your hammer and your boots at the same time to just soar through those pegs. It's a visually very funny trick. Yeah, as chat points out, Elm's living on the edge, but we're down in a much safer part of Norfair now, so should be fine. There's a refill room coming up here with little bugs that can be farmed. Getting some cleanup on these fetch quest items from Ozzy and Solsky, while Zosti just keeps progressing forward, going for his last major area of Super Metroid and closer to his fourth main Super Metroid boss. just got a note from my co-caster, HK, that, as noted earlier, he's recovering from cold right now, so he'll be chatting a little bit less as the medicine kicks in. Everyone in chat give some well wishes for HK to get well soon. Ooh, I did not follow any of our previous runners as they went all the way to their end of the fetch quest check with the purple chest, but turns out it was morph ball bombs, which, you know, this late in the seed don't really do anything. I love them early though. They're great for ammo conservation and infinite bomb jumping, which is one of the few ways I'm able to get around hard mode, because infinite bomb jumping provides you, well, that vertical access that you might be required to use in hard logic. All right, Zosti coming into Dragon. Should be a very quick fight, knowing him. One of the, not current, but recent world record holders in Super Metroid. Every one of these tricks is second nature. As you can see, he's already gotten himself a blue suit, just to show off. Blue suit is a nifty glitch in Super Metroid where you can get Samus to turn completely blue, store a Shine Spark for later use, and then as long as you don't press the run button, you can just maneuver around and use that Shine Spark somewhere else. If he ends the fight with a blue suit, then we'll see him use the charge that it gives to get back across the Coliseum going to the left. And Solsky catching right up, going to be on Dragon shortly. Yeah, Zosta dropped out. Not sure what's going on there. Sorry for the myriad of small visual hiccups we've had this run for everyone so far, but Zosti's back, so not much to worry about. It does give me pleasure to see Zosti and Silsky both having gone for the Shine Spark strats on Dragon, just because it's so flashy. But Solsky sending himself there into the ceiling instead of hitting Dragon. Though I must wonder if Solsky's doing this to kind of work on the trick, or if he thinks that it's faster. It looks like he's finally realized that just Charge Beam is the way to go. On your top left, Elm is making our first visit into Turtle Rock, if I'm not mistaken. So this is exciting. We got new content coming. Could be all kinds of nifty items. The Ice Rod itself could be in here, enabling him to complete the dungeon, or this could be a double dip, so we'll see. Ooh, and oh, I was about to say right on his heels would be Ozzy, but Ozzy doesn't have the Bombos yet, so never mind. Ozzy's just doing some of these East Side Dark Death Mountain checks. By the way, if you want to look in the upper right and see the ice beam based Shack Tool entry, it's happening. So everyone's favorite location, we're about to find out. Ooh, not a big deal for Elm to die there. It's actually probably an intentional death warp. Or I don't know. Either way, it's not very deep into the dungeon, and you want to just go right back to the start and head the other way on the Cane of Samaria tracks, so no biggie for Elm. So Zosti going at this trick with some determination, and honestly, it might be worth it because we're getting down in terms of the number of locations left to check, and if there's something here, this time's going to pay off. I've seen some runners just stubbornly go after this one and have it not pay off, and that does feel bad, but in this case, it's a much more logically feasible move to make. Helm taking care of a deceptively hard room there in Turtle Rock. Of course, he's got 8 hearts, so you think, oh, well, that's safe. But those chain chomps that he was just dodging around could beat him in, I believe, 2 hits. Ozzy going through Tower of Hera. It's not a crystal dungeon, but when you're just desperately searching for some of those progression items, you'll take any relatively easy checks you can, and it's a fairly short dungeon, so not a big time loss, and certainly worth it if it would end up paying off. But as we know, the progression lies elsewhere. Elm and Zosti, to a degree, still seem to have a lead, though Zosti's getting stuck on this ice cliff. Elm about to take a trip outside, so we'll get a Mimic Cave check, and who knows? That could be that could be one of the important spots because we still need some critical progression. I have seen, I believe one of the first races of this I ever watched, I saw Morph Ball. No kidding, Morph Ball of all items was in Mimic Cave. It was one of those very lopsided seeds where all of the Link to the Past progression was first, but just $20. Yeah, chat pointing out, Zosti did knowingly skip Grapple. Grapple was at the vanilla Lower Norfair Escape Powerbomb location, and that's a 30 seconds or so you go out of your way to get it, but high caliber runners never going to think they need it unless they need to check Shack Tool, and as we're seeing, this ended up being a much bigger time loss. Yeah, Miss Metroid, I can't wait for all those custom Link to the Past randomizer modes to get into this game. Very patiently waiting, of course, because I don't want to put too much pressure on all our community members who are giving us this content for free, but just there's so much potential for this run to get even more complex and fun as those new game modes are introduced. So we'll see what happens in the coming months. Now chat's busting out the really wild ideas. We're talking about inverting Super Metroid, which would just be a blast. Making criteria heated or something wild like that. Yeah, Povo Gamer, we're just talking about the potential for existing content in the Link to the Past randomizer to come in. The community is hard at work. Programmers who are putting this stuff together. There's a lot more advancement on the Link to the Past solo side. You can invert Link to the Past. You can randomize the enemies, the damage they deal, all kinds of additional modes. Oh yeah, and by the way, congrats to Zosti on the ice clip. Holy cow. Even if there's nothing here, just the payoff of actually getting in feels so good. So get out your bless RNGs in chat, all your pray emojis. He's even going to give us the speedy check first, and no, it's just cash. Oh, Shack Tool, how could you betray me? Boy, so that leaves, I think, Elma's going to front of Swamp, and just, this would be a bizarre place for, progression to be locked, but that's what it's pointing us to, because he's already dipped into Turtle Rock and gotten as much as he could. Meanwhile, we've got Ozzy catching up on the pod checks and an X-ray check from Solsky, who will just see those missiles. All right, and I'm watching with avid interest on what we'll find in the front of Swamp here, because just all signs point to it being loaded. Question in chat, which of course chat can answer, but I'd like to bring it up on stream because it's always good for our newer viewers to get an idea of what's going on here. Link to the Past and Super Metroid have been combined in such a way that you can transition between them at 4 different fixed points throughout each game. There's a criteria to nearby Link's house portal. There's a Death Mountain to Upper Norfair portal. There's a Misery Mire to Lower Norfair portal, and there's a Southeast Dark World to the back of Meridia portal. Come on, Swamp Palace, don't fail me now. Oh my, that sounds cool. Adnaxis in chat wants an entrance randomizer between the crossover games, and that just, the amount of time that would take to map out is just ungodly. Solsky heading into Lower Norfair via the Misery Mire portal, which we were just talking about, on his way to kill Ridley. And it's looking like Zosti wants to transition back to Link to the Past, having, if not full cleared, very nearly full cleared the whole Super Metroid map. There aren't as many locations in Super Metroid, so it's often done sooner. There are 100 items in Super Metroid and 216 in Link to the Past for a combined total of 316. However, while Zosti could go and beat Mother Brain, as all runners will have to do to finish, that's not advantageous because there's no items on the way. So just going to put that off and continue on in Link to the Past. Looks like we're going to be seeing the same Swamp Palace play here from Ozzy. All right, this chest has got to have something, please. Hey, and look at that, it's an ice rod, and he's right out of there on his way to Turtle Rock. So, all signs point to Bo in Turtle Rock, in one of the back areas. Yeah, the pedestal dream, sadly, seems like it's come to a close. Oh, yeah, Maximum Barnage in chat points out could still be back of Palace, Swamp Palace Bow. Gosh, it's just, that item has trolled so many of these randomizer runs. It's so bizarre because it's early, very early. Oh, and look, it's in Hookshot Cave! Never mind! So as casters and viewers, we are collectively in no mode. Knowing what each runner individually hasn't pieced together yet, we can see how this game will find its way to completion. And all that's remaining is for Zosti to make that trip to Swamp Palace, get the Ice Rod, Alminister, make his trip to Hookshot Cave, get the bow. Actually, wait, he still doesn't have Hookshot. Which probably means Alm and Ozzy are fairly close. Though it's worth pointing out, Elm has Desert Palace fully cleared, whereas Tower of Hera not doing anything for Ozzy. So, can't say a firm winner, of course, in any of these races before about the 3-hour mark, but Zosti is well on his way. Given that the Ice Rod, especially, it's going to come naturally in a crystal dungeon, so runners always going to check the crystal dungeons that they must go through to finish the game. The Ice Rod will come to him very naturally. Yeah, Ozzy has Hookshot. I was just surprised when I looked at Elm's screen and didn't see it. Either way, we've got a very good race going here. Nobody's substantially behind or ahead. We're getting a lot of checks in, so we're getting to see a lot of the worlds of both games. Really delivering in terms of competitiveness, certainly, if not delivering so much in terms of the hard Super Metroid tricks entertainment that we signed up for. Getting a Firefly check from Solsky, and it's just a little piece of heart. Ozzy's coming up on that ice rod hype. So Zosti is, if I'm recalling correctly, going to get Bombos out of Palace of Darkness and then dip on out because that will give him, well, that'll give him access to Turtle Rock, but we've got that sort of back and forth requirement where the Swamp Palace still contains the Ice Rod, so maybe he'll do Swamp Palace first, just to check a few more locations once he doesn't turn up the Ice Rod inside Palace of Darkness. Ooh, in our first Trinex fight. Alright, I recently heard a meme of taking damage from Trinex in 2018 lull, so we'll see if Elm takes any damage here. Probably not. Oh! I jinxed it! Sorry, you'll beat this, right? Right, Elm? You won't give us any trouble. You'll beat it. Alright. The crystals are coming in hot for Elm, and we've only got a few more left to collect. He's got to get that hook shot so he can go finish Swamp Palace. And then Eastern, once any runner does dip into it, since we all had to go there earlier to get required items, it'll just be a beeline to the Armos Knights. Elm's gonna check out Tower of Hera. Makes sense, it's right nearby. Quick dungeon, couple of item checks. And still searching for a couple of those valuable progression pieces. Solsky making his way over to Pod. Gonna get that Bombos. Oh yeah, that's a good possibility, Link Force. I've, at this point in the run, completely forgotten that the boots will ever arrive, but they could indeed be in Swamp. It's worth noting with the layout of these runs that a number of items that are non-essential to either game can end up in Ganon's Tower, and with there being 22 or 23-ish chests all the way up there, we sometimes see a late, a screw attack. Of course, we've seen screw attack earlier, but late, like, non-required nice-to-haves. But still could see boots there, too. All right, chat helping me out with my numbers. There are 22 pre-big key checks in Ganon's Tower, and then a couple more later. And I'm also being corrected by chat that Ozzy has confirmed that the boots are in Swamp Palace. Yeah, that's some That is Go Mode hype, that's right. Ozzy's got everything he needs, so now it's just time to start hard clearing dungeons. Ooh, Zosti going all the way for a green pendant check to find the ice rod. Didn't have to complete that dungeon, but you know, Shahashrila will give you that one item, so it's one of those bets you make sometimes when you're just not turning it up anywhere else. Don't worry, chat. We don't need to get ahead of ourselves. I will call out the Ganon's Tower chest guessing game as soon as someone is actually about to go into Ganon's Tower. Fun little game we play in these randomizers where we guess which chest in Ganon's Tower has the big key. Elm says, I don't need Screw Attack. I've already done all the hard stuff in Super Metroid. And that's giving me flashbacks to when he was at like 19 health against those key hunters escaping Norfair. That was the last time Screw Attack would have been really useful. Zosti, of course, not coming across the ice rod yet. It's just going to clear out an essential dungeon. Got to do Eastern at some point. Getting the North Dark World Graveyard Ledge check here from Elm, which we know, of course, won't turn up anything, but he's still on the hunt for a couple of key items. And goodbye, Armos Knights, with a Spazer Beam reward. Oh joy. Often by this point you'll see runners have silver arrows with how many checks they've made in both games, and Armos Knights is on a cinch, but it's looking like silvers could be in Ganon's Tower. Silver is not required to beat the game as long as you have a powerful enough sword to fight Ganon with, but they do make it a lot easier. Let's see. If we're talking about like figuring out the lead, Ozzy has a couple of dungeons still to work on, but has all the Go Mode items. Zosti needs to get into Swamp Palace to both complete it and get the Ice Rod. So who has the edge? Zosti's still kind of full clearing, but that full clear is just Swamp, and then he'll be able to Go Mode Turtle Rock. Whereas Ozzy's Go Moding 3 dungeons right now. Kind of a toss-up, I'd say. Maybe the more experienced Link to the Past randomizer runners could tell us which one of those takes more time to do. Oh, could this be Elm going up to Meridia for Shack Tool? I pray it's not, but Shack Tool might claim another victim tonight. That's certainly looking very watery. Yep, that's a Shack Tool check, but with Grapple Beam, so thankfully not going to lose as much time to it as Zosti did. Meanwhile, Ozzy just cleaned up the laser bridge, but I was not looking, so did Ozzy find anything good on laser bridge? Chad's thinking Ozzy might have missed a key, and so he's going back. Everyone say hi to Shack Tool. I think if I could have a pet, my pet would not be Shack Tool, but I'd think about it. He's kind of cute, you know. He's got those little rollerblades on. The slow wait for Shack Tool to clear through the sand is also a good time to show off your moves, do a little dancing, burn off a little frustration maybe in some of our runners' cases. Oh yeah, Dedalic, 100%. I'd take an Edikun as a pet any day. Miss Metroid a little more daring. Wants to have a Metroid as a pet. I certainly would be securing my brain very safely if I had one. There we go. Baby Metroid's much cuter than full-grown Metroids, because then they grow up and they suck the brains out of your enemies and not you instead. And now chat's just getting more and more outrageous. Mother Brain as a pet. I just don't see it. Plasma Beam check from Elm. Just, I guess when you have two of these out-of-the-way checks to come back into Meridia for, it makes a little bit more sense than just the one, but it is unfortunate that they won't turn up anything for Elm. Meanwhile, Ozzy going into Trinex, and will he take any damage? Let's find... Oh, the spikes in the back. Interesting. Hard reset from Elm after all that deep searching into Meridia didn't pay off. Seeing Zosti continue the Swamp Palace full clear, and given the normal path of a Swamp Palace full clear, that Ice Rod is going to be at the very end. But he'll be super relieved once he gets to it, I'm sure. X-ray check for Elm. This wild goose chase for the bow and the hook shot is unfortunately leading him pretty far astray. Hopefully, after this, we'll see him get back into Link to the Past and check out our key locations that the other runners have already passed through. Absolutely love this conversation right now going on in chat, talking about the Metroid series, the lore, the Kozo, all that stuff. Just a really great series of games, great world building. Always loved them as a kid and into adulthood. Metroid Prime and Super Metroid were my two favorites, but gosh, I sunk a lot of hours into Metroid 2 on my Game Boy back in the day when I didn't have a lot of games and had a Game Boy to take on bus trips. All right, Zosti's coming up. Get your hypes out for Zosti's Go mode right now. So now this paints a little clearer of a picture in that Ozzy's most of the way through Eastern and then just has Desert Palace remaining for his crystals, while Zosti's almost all the way through Swamp Palace and then has Turtle Rock, but go moding Turtle Rock is substantially faster than full clearing it, so I don't know. I would give the slight edge to Ozzy right now. Just finding out in the IRC chat that unfortunately one of our runners, Leno, who started on the stream earlier tonight, had an internet outage and that torpedoed the early part of his run. But we'll wish him better luck with the internet next time and certainly want to see him again in future races. I'm doing a quick check, given that our on-stream runners are all getting into more clearly defined go modes on how the off-stream runners are doing. Leno is still streaming, just had the break that took his stream off of our live cam, and is currently in the Ice Palace. We had one forfeit, and we have other runners catching up, and still looks like our on-stream runners, though, have the edge. All right, Zosti, no trouble getting out of Swamp Palace. Ozzy, no trouble getting out of Desert Palace. All these things are rote at this point, and we're just waiting to see them collect the crystals and go on a big adventure into Ganon's Tower. That is all crystals for Ozzy, by the way, so it looks like he'll be heading up to Death Mountain and making his way to Ganon's Tower. So yeah, let's get our guessing game going in chat. Pick a number between 1 and 22 for which chest the big key will be in Ganon's Tower. That chest order is just the order in which Ozzy first checks them. And the winner of the guessing game gets a pet Metroid. Ozzy making that ascent, while Elm is taking his freshly found hookshot and gonna gun it through Swamp Palace. Zosty looking for that big key so he can make his route as fast as possible through Turtle Rock. Solsky, of course, still in full clear mode for any dungeon he visits because he's got to get a few more key items. All right, and the chest checks begin. On the right side of Ganon's Tower basement, only 2 checks there with some cash and the X-ray scope, which sadly won't be seeing any use today. Half magic, and why not? You use up a lot of your magic bar getting through this tower, so it's just really convenient to have it show up at this point. And then in the Ganon fight, of course, when you've got to relight the torches repeatedly, it's always good to have a little extra magic buffer. Four more chests, no big key yet. It's a map. These couple of rooms here are one of the few times you'll see a boomerang used by a runner in a game where most of the items have been completed. But hey, it's nice to have its uses. A lot of Super Metroid ammunition, but still no big key. Yeah, Shift in chat was just mentioning, oh, well, why would you skip an item if it's right there and you don't have to wait through the 8-second fanfare like in default Super Metroid. Runners, they know that they can beat the game more than handily without most of these extra like ammunition packs, health packs, and stuff in the late game. They're really just trying to save every frame that they can, and also it's a little bit of a pride thing. You can look at your stats at the end of the seed when you see the credits roll and show that you've collected fewer items, and you can say, hey, I got through this hard seed only having this many items collected, and it's not the way that you win with the lowest time, but it still feels nice to have a lower item count at the end. All right, we're going back into the right side basement in Ganon's Tower because the whole left side had nothing in it. That's unfortunate. Could mean that any runner that gets into Ganon's Tower and immediately goes full clear right side is going to have an edge to catch up on Ozzy, but at this point it's looking like only Elm and... Actually, no, only Zosty has a shot at that because Elm still doesn't have a bow. the bow, which I believe was in Hookshot Cave. Woof! And we've got our big key. Was that 21 or 22? I didn't see if he did the tile room. Gonna see if someone in chat corrects me on the chest count. 21. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll back and see who our winner of a brand new baby Metroid is. We got Tommy Lee, 67, guessed 21. And that's it. So yeah, Tommy Lee. All right, you hopefully don't get your brain sucked out by that Metroid. Ooh, we're going real deep. Elm unfortunately headed into Misery Mire, which is a pendant dungeon, so it's not required. And additionally, it's got just a few item checks. It's very spread out, so unfortunate to have to full clear this one. But, you know, new content for anyone watching the stream. It's the first time you get to see Misery Mire done. Come on, fairy. No, just gonna skip the fairy. So Zost will do a quick Trinex fight here, then conveniently Turtle Rock is right up here on Death Mountain, so we'll be able to make a quick run over to Ganon's Tower, and then maybe check right side first. That would be the biggest chance for a catch-up, along with some of the time saves at the end of Super Metroid. We know Zosty's more than capable of getting things like the Baby Metroid skip, the Zebetite skip, the stand-up glitch, and other things that are big time savers at the end of Super Metroid. Those could end up being deciding factors, but right now it's Ozzy's race to lose. Not quite a sync, but we did get Silsky and Zosi fighting the Trinex at the same time, but Silsky still has to catch up on some other dungeons. Ooh, sniped. Silsky's running across that bridge and just got hit by one of those shots. Gonna make the same bet on Tower of Hera that two of our other runners made, but will not be leading him to progression. Alright, Moldorm 2 is down for Ozzy, so heading on up the last leg of the tower to Aghanim. Ooh, nice triple there from Ozzy on Aghanim. Wow, alright, that was a fast fight. Aghanim 2 goes much more quickly than Aghanim 1 because you've got the shadows who will always throw power shots at you, whereas you might get those blue balls that aren't able to be deflected from the main Aghanim. And in the Aghanim 1 fight, which we don't often see on runs, Aghanim will do that 50% of the time. And so those fights typically go slower, which is kind of funny if you think about it, for one of them being a later boss. And we're into Ganon. And no silver arrows were ever found by anyone, so I'm going to be interested to see the spoiler for the seed afterwards and find out where those silver arrows are hiding. But Ozzy's got the sweet boot strats inside the Ring of Flame here for Ganon's second form. Ganon is now throwing a temper tantrum and stomping out the floor because, you know, if he can't have fun, nobody can have fun. Without silver arrows, what Ozzy here is doing is the way that you beat Ganon most efficiently, by catching him when he's moving between positions in this form with your sword. Oh, I just missed the text on screen. Ganon tells you where the silver arrows are. And, oh, okay, they came off of Vedius, so... Or no, never mind, sorry, I misread the chat here. They were in Ganon Tower. A lot of information coming at me at once here in the chat. Oh, tile room silvers. Oh! Yeah, wow! That's amazing. Okay. Hey, well, maybe Zosti will pick him up and, you know, save a few frames on the Ganon fight. Oh, it's true. They could be the unchecked chests between Moldorm 2 and Aga 2. Come on, Ozzy, you got this. Just a couple more sword swipes. Hey, alright. Ganon is down for Ozzy. So get out your single G in the chat. We give half of a GG for beating half of the run, given that these two games are combined, and Ozzy still has yet to beat Super Metroid. So G to Ozzy. As far as the runtime goes, getting from here to Mother Brain and finishing off Super Metroid is about 8 minutes. So we're looking at a possible sub 315 for Ozzy, which, you know, isn't bad. Running this randomizer solo takes quite a while when you've got to do all the checks yourself. And you know, 3:30 to 4 hours is like a good benchmark if you're trying to run it solo and improve. So could see that beaten here by Ozzy today. Probably not Sosti, though, who's just a few minutes further behind. Chat points out that the way Solski's leaning right now, he's going to find that bow in Hookshot Cave before Elm does, though we might be just about to see Elm follow in his footsteps, so it could be very closely timed go modes for both Solski and Elm. Alright, we're into Torian. Ozzy's going to take care of the Metroids in the traditional way of freezing them and using missiles, or rather super missiles. You can use 5 missiles or 1 super. The backup strat, if Ice Beam is never found in a run, is to use 3 power bombs to kill them, but that's much slower. Elm's doing something. Did Elm check Waterway? Oh, Spazer, interesting. Never went into Spazer. Okay, so Ozzy's coming up on one of the fun thematic moments and sweet sequence, not sequence breaks, but time saves in late game Super Metroid, where Big Baby Metroid's going to come in, suck the life out of this little side hopper, and then it's going to be Samus's turn. But if Ozzy can jump correctly and kind of circle around the Metroid, we'll see a baby skip. So let's see if it gets pulled off. Almost inching closer. Doorway's open, and Ozzy gets the Metroid skip. If you just play the game naturally, you don't pull off a skip like that, the Metroid will suck out all of your energy, and then you'll have to proceed down and to the left to the energy refill station. All told, lose a good number of seconds, probably north of 10, but I don't have the times down exactly. Ozzy's trying for the Zebetite skip to get, there we go. So that's another time save here, as well as an ammunition save. If you're low on missiles, not having to beat all these gates in the last room here saves a lot of missiles. And into Mother Brain 1 fight. Mother Brain just kind of sits here and takes missiles and super missiles for the first form, so not much threat to Samus. But following that, we get the big cinematic endgame fight. Mother Brain Form 2. While Zosti finishes off a much less intimidating boss in Moldorm 2 in Ganon's Tower. So a couple of different ways to beat Mother Brain here. Given that we're fully loaded out with beams, Ozzy's going to use 20 fully charged Plasma Ice Wave shots to do the requisite damage to Mother Brain. There are debates about the fastest way to kill. If you don't miss a shot with a charge beam, this is just fine. If you don't miss a shot with super missiles, you can pump in 60 super missiles. But didn't look like we had the ammo for that this game anyways. Now Ozzy's setting up the phase 2, how should I say this? This is the stand-up glitch. So between phases 2 and 3 of this fight, normally Samus is sitting on the floor, unable to move, and locked up until the baby Metroid comes in to save the day. However, getting your energy to certain thresholds before Mother Brain hits you with those beams will allow you to stand up as is shown during this cinematic section and have full control over Samus. Then, once Mother Brain turns fully gray, you can proceed to damage her while she's reviving to start phase 3 of the fight, getting in tons of actual damage that counts. So it'll vastly reduce the number of hyper beam shots that are required to just, one at the very best if you hit all of these charge plasmas, and 3, 4, 5 if you don't quite. Either way, huge time save that can only be pulled off with a minimum number of 7 or more energy tanks, which our runners did get in this very healthy seed. Long-winded explanation there, but I thought chat would like to understand what's going on Ozzy's screen. Meanwhile, we've got Zosti doing Ganon. Shouldn't have any problems. Solsky racing through the remainder of Link to the Past in Go mode while Elm hunts out that bow. Alright, phase 3, Hyper Beam time, and Mother Brain is down. So, going to be an escape sequence through the back of Torian for Ozzy, a couple of Shine Sparks, a couple of ascents up some vertical caverns, and Ozzy will be geared up to go, looking at, again, probably a 3:12-ish finish time. Yes, Ozzy is almost done, chat. We'll be just shortly getting our GGs ready, assuming nothing catastrophic happens. And gosh, I'm not sure if any any speedrunner could have ever died during the escape sequence, but maybe with 2 energy tanks or 3 energy tanks or something, it could happen. Certainly not going to this time. So just looking for a photo finish here from Ozzy. And get out your single Gs for Zosty, who's finished off Ganon. Coming up on the ship for Ozzy, we'll have time in just a moment for you. Congratulations to Ozzy. Get out your GGs in chat. Finished with first place of all our runners on screen and off with an official SRL time of 3:11:47. Congrats to Ozzy. Tough race. A lot of talented runners from the community in this one, all doing their best to work through some really tricky logic in this seed. I'm being informed that we will be setting up an interview with the winner. I'll get back to you as soon as we've got that available. All right. Elm at 3:13 has found the bow, so it's a bow mode for Elminister. And I hate to say it, but I did say it at the beginning of this whole race that Bo would be the troll. So I don't know. I guess I win a baby mother brain for my good guess. That's a callback to our conversation about which things from Metroid we would take as pets. Atacoon's among the more cute variety. Mother brain, not so cute. Chad is asking who Ozzy replaced on the stream. Ozzy was slotted in for Leno, whose internet cut out earlier and was unable to stream a middle portion of his run. So for entertainment's sake, we got Ozzy back on. And we're just been joined in the live on-air chat by Ozzy. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks. So I didn't know I was being restreamed.
We moved you on, as I was just explaining a moment ago, to chat when Leno dropped out due to an internet, not dropped out of the race, but dropped off of streaming due to an internet outage. Still continued the run afterwards. But tell us your feelings. What did you think about how that logic played out?
Can I ask when I was put on the restream first?
I want to say about 45 minutes in. I'd have to go back and look, but runners were passing through the wrecked ship or so.
Okay. So yeah, I took a death in Upper Norfair. That was kind of unfortunate. I died right in front of the Variasuit to heat damage.
Yeah, we were all watching in sadness for you, but you overcame.
Yeah. Like, I was going to sit at the door and do a crystal flash, but then didn't feel like it and died. Oh well.
Did you have any other moments that were especially memorable for you, or things you just couldn't believe were found where they were?
That'd be the hook shot. So I skipped doing Dark Cross because I killed the Green Guard when I was doing Escape. And so I just isolated the hook shot and never got back to it for a very long time.
Ouch. But can't be as bad as what happened, unfortunately, with the bow for Elminster here, who just recently picked it up. That was a bit of a troll bow, given that it followed from the troll hookshot.
Yeah, so I was trying to follow the logic on the lamp in my head. I think Ice Palace was hookshot locked. Do you know if that's accurate?
I'm not super great to ask on the Link to the Past logic, but someone in chat might have the answer.
Because if it is, then this was a suitless, high jumpless Meridia for lamp.
Oh wow, that would have been fascinating. Yeah, we had at least one runner fake flippered to get the, I want to say power glove ahead of time, which led to that sort of sequence of early progression that came off of the flippers. But ultimately, most people got flippers pretty early anyways because it was an Eastern Palace.
Yeah, I did Eastern like second after Keck. First chest flute was very nice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That just feels so great for that Link to the Past world traversal. So, are you a frequent runner of this crossover? Is this your first time in first? I'm just curious about your running history.
Yeah, I've been at this since it became publicly available, I'd say. So I've been playing this for a long time.
Oh, awesome.
It's just
Yeah.
in
Go ahead.
recent days the Super Metroid and Link to the Past tournaments have started up again, so can't make all these weekend races anymore.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Plus, the tournament season for this one just ended a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that too. So yeah, put this off until the next tournament season starts.
Yep. But it sounds like we'll be seeing some development in this game in terms of things being ported in, features for Link to the Past, and so forth. So I'm excited to see what the next competitive season will hold.
Oh, I have a question. Where were silver arrows?
Chat is hypostulating that they were in Ganon's tower, either in the tile room or in a post Moldorm pre-Aghanim check. I don't have the spoiler right in front of me, so can't say at the moment.
Okay, because when I saw the Ganon text, I thought it said Tower of Hera. I was very confused.
Looks like tile room according to chat. But, you know, chat's been wrong before. Not often. I'm usually the one who's wrong, and chat's right. Do you have any other parting things you'd like to say? You have a stream you'd like to tell the chat about?
I'm very happy about this win. It's really strong competition on the restream here. Solsky, Zost, and Elmis are all top runners. I do have a tournament match tomorrow at 9 Eastern on the Super Metroid Randomizer channel. I'd have to look that up actually.
Good luck on that. Super Metroid Randomizer, gonna test out all those movement skills. And GG's for Zost, by the way, who just recently boarded the ship to space as the planet exploded behind him. Zost's time is 3:19:41 according to SRL. And that is the second place finish, so none of our off-stream runners were faster than Ozzy or Zosty.
Randomizer League is the name of the Super Metroid Randomizer channel.
Alright, so chat, if you're interested in solo Super Metroid Randomizer runs, you can follow Randomizer League on Twitch.
So yeah, I got those two tournaments plus the SNES Superstar Marathon coming up. So I got 2 games in for that as well.
Awesome. Good luck on both of those.
Yep, so that's what I'll be doing on my stream in the near future.
Sweet. Head over to Ozzy's stream to see some speedrun practice. And welcome to Zosti, our second interview. Congrats, Zosti, on finishing second place.
Thanks. Thank you.
Do you have any thoughts or feelings about some of those tricky items from this run?
It's hard to remember what everything was. I don't have. I wish I wouldn't have even bothered with Shack Tool. Obviously, that was really stupid.
Yeah, we were all happy that you were visiting, but sad that it didn't pay off.
It took so long to get that ice clip. I mean, the setup I'm used to. If I had high jump, it'd be pretty free for me. But I forgot that I don't have a setup for high jump list. I need to learn like the. There's another way of doing it I need to learn.
Oh.
Yeah. I got away with space jump. That lets you just jump up the right side.
Do what now? No, I mean without grapple.
Yeah. I think. Maybe I'm misremembering the timing on the charge shot on the guy.
I've got it. Well, the strat I use is I hold the charge. Well, and I go up to the room and I angle up, and I let go of the charge, which freezes the lower leech, and then I immediately hit shoot again to hold a charge, and then I jump. This is all like while I'm running towards the right before I fall off into the sand, and then I do a space jump up to the top, and then Samus will collide with the leech, and then she'll unspin, land, and automatically shoot. If you do it correctly, it's like 100%. Yeah, I mean the jump's a little tight, but it's really not that bad. But without high jump, I don't know how to get up there the same. You know, you don't get up there the same speed. So
If anyone on chat is looking to run Super Metroid, Zosti's full of advanced tricks for you. Practices on stream frequently, so we're hearing some of those tactics right now about different ways to get into Shack Tool.
yeah. Well, there's like another strat where you manipulate the camera, and it's easier, but I can't remember how you do it. It was a strat that came out after I'd found that that ice clip method I used, and I never learned it because it's slower. It's easier, but it's slower. So I was like, I'm not bothering. But I could. But now, like with Rando, it might be nice.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was referring to a little more. You need a space jump to manipulate the camera better. With no jump movement, it's really tight.
I did have space jump for it, but I didn't know the I don't know that way of doing it really. But yeah, I spent like 7 or 8 minutes trying to get that clip.
Yeah, I mean, you were getting pretty down there on remaining checks. You know, it wasn't the worst bet. Just unfortunately, the timing was not quite there.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you know, you won't forget that next time. I won't forget that, like, not to try to go to Shack Tool without without being a little bit more careful what I'm doing, what I've got to do it with.
Was
I
it,
did go. I
go
went
ahead.
by. I'm sorry. What were you gonna ask?
Yeah, you're good.
I was just saying. I thought about getting grappled, but I was like, I'll just save a little time. Like, if I do go to Shack Tool, I can just use ice. Then I got there and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, everyone in chat had to wonder if that grapple pass up was weighing on your mind, because we all saw it in Power Bombing.
Yeah. Of course, I was thinking, man, I should have grabbed that, but it's okay.
Either way, good run all around. Sub 330 time for a complex and long randomizer, especially on hard mode.
Yeah, that was a pretty difficult seed to finish quickly. I'm surprised I came in second. Like, I was expecting people to finish, 30 minutes ago.
The sequence of hookshot into bow, and to an extent ice rod, really just held back everyone. Go mode came rather late for our remaining runners.
Yeah, makes sense. The items were scattered out pretty good, like all over the place. There wasn't really hardly any areas You know, sometimes you'll go through Green Brinstar or Wreck Ship, and there won't be anything at all there. It wasn't really that so much.
Yeah, the seed required a lot of double dipping into the Link to the Past dungeons.
I think that's what helped me is I didn't do too much double dipping. I like routed pretty well to avoid that. So I think I did pretty minimal double dipping.
Right on.
It would have been nice to find Hookshot before I went up to Death Mountain. I'd kind of double dip East Death Mountain. Would have. Of course, I double dip Eastern.
Yeah,
So.
not too bad though. Short dungeon.
I don't think I double dipped anything else though.
That's a good point. You were able to put off Turtle Rock very far until getting your Ice Rod and then go immediately into Ganon's Tower. You're, I think, the only one to do that.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't go up there until I was in Go mode and I had boots too and everything. So the boots was a nice find. I was kind of on the edge of where I was going to check anything at all in Swamp Palace. But it turned out to be pretty good.
Do you have anything you'd like to say to chat? Any upcoming races to promote, or just tell them about your stream?
Nah. Not really. I'm real good at promoting myself, aren't I?
So, I mean, we can all just look at the leaderboards for Super Metroid and see, like, you know, second. You're going to take this back from Behemoth, I know.
Oh, Behemoth just has 2 of them. There's a bunch of others that other people have taken from me.
Oh, yeah, the reverse boss order, right?
Yeah, Shiny Zenny took reverse boss order. I'm second in that. Overfiend took GT Classic, which I think I'm still second in that. Overfiend took low percent. Both low percent. Speed, nice. So, yeah, I think I'm second in quite a few categories, but it's not just one person that's got me beat. Although Behemoth does has the 2 hardest, you know, the 2 like most prestigious categories.
Absolutely.
So I will say that. But it is nice to have second. You know, I'm obviously quite a well-rounded. I've been around the block about 1,000,000 times, so there's not many people that are as well-rounded of a Super Metroid player as me. Other people just they won't do all the categories, or they don't do rando.
Yeah, for sure. We all have reverence for your skills in that game.
Thanks. Been spending a lot of time with Link to the Past too. I got down to 127.18, so I'm almost to 126. So the speedruns in that are getting pretty.
Oh, that's really good.
Pretty fast too. I'm just working on both any percent, no major glitches, both of these games. That's what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. Good to hear. Bringing it back to the gameplay for just a moment, we've got Solsky finishing up Aga 2 after doing some swag hovering in Ganon's Tower, and Elm is working on the Ganon fight, but without the right torch glitch, so having to relight those torches repeatedly is slowing this down just a little bit.
Alright, I'm gonna get out of here.
Cool, thanks for joining us, and
Yeah, no problem.
again, just great running today. It was really fun to have you on stream.
Yep, anytime. Thanks for having me on stream. Thanks for commentating and all that.
Have a good night.
Appreciate y'all. Have a good one.
All right, get out your single G's in chat for Elm, who's now finished Link to the Past. Okay, so if Elm can get all the same skips that Ozzy was able to pull off, we'll be seeing probably 338 from him. And Solsky gonna not be too far behind, given that he's near the end of that Ganon fight. So, you know, all things considered, if you take a one death or one item check here or there, turn it the other way, this was a really close race for a lot of our runners. If Zosti didn't do the Shack tool, could have been neck and neck with Ozzy, and similarly Solsky and Elm going to come down to within a couple minutes of each other, which is just really fun to see on stream. You always like a competitive race. And G's for Solsky. Quick off-stream update, Hitaka is at the Mother Brain fight between phases 2 and 3, and Karakarn is in Ice Palace, and we've got our previously on-stream runner, Leno, is in Lower Norfair, it looks like. Yeah, Lower Norfair. Zosti is still on the restream and busting out the guitars, so maybe you can head on over to his stream if you want the audio for those sweet tunes. I'll double check with our organizers. We're probably going to be wanting to cut out some of the additional video feeds here shortly. Looks like no baby Metroid skip for Elm, so just a bit of a time loss there. And it looks like Zosti's stream has been turned off, so after the race is over, perhaps go check out twitch.tv/Zosti and see some sweet acoustic guitar licks. Alright, last two big time saves coming up for Elm. First, the Zebetite glitch, freeze, damage clip, and through. And then we'll see about Elm's stand-up glitch, and then Solsky will try and pull off the 3 Torian glitches and or skips rather, and get out of Torian as fast as possible. And I'd like to bring attention in chat. An off-stream runner, Hitaka, has finished in 3rd place with a time of 3:34.26. Congrats to Hitaka. Seeing a lovely stand-up glitch here from Elm. Alright, Zebetite skip for Solsky. While Elm just continues to pound away with those charge shots. Alright, Mother Brain down. Only the escape sequence left for Elm, just as Solsky starts phase 2 of the fight. Fun fact, this escape sequence as a kid for me was a lot more stressful because I didn't know about either of the two speed booster shortcuts to get out. I learned about the one in the final chamber many years ago, but I actually didn't learn about this one that Elm just did until maybe a month ago. And yeah, big time saves there, as well as moon falling down this upcoming shaft here on the left. No moonfall there, though. Oh, I think Solsky was not able to get the right energy total for the stand-up glitch, so just going to take the hit from Mother Brain here and finish out the fight the natural way, while Elm proceeds to the ship and will be flying off into space in just a moment. Congratulations, Elm. Elm has finished in 4th place with an SRL time of 3:37.42. Good running. That's also our audio feed, which just cut as Elm is finishing up. However, probably more trouble than it's worth to put Solsky on live audio, as Solsky will be out of the game in just a couple moments. And we have Elm live on air for an interview, so welcome.
Hi.
So tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that seed.
The seed wasn't too bad, but I miscounted Hyrule Castle, so I missed the hook shot, and that was really bad because the seed was kind of screaming Turtle Rock to me, but I didn't have Ice Rod and it was empty because I had missed the hook shot. So I went swamp looking for things and found the Ice Rod, and then went to Turtle Rock again, and there was still nothing there.
Yeah, I agree. Chat, and at least myself and the other commentator, were thinking that there'd be goodies in Turtle Rock and just nothing.
That was just like the most unfortunate configuration for those dungeons to have missed that item. The Ice Rod and left side swamp basically had me convinced, okay, well, hookshot must be on Trinex or something. Something's got to be on Trinex.
How'd you feel about your routing and decisions overall on this one?
I mean, the decisions, if I hadn't miscounted, I think were fine. I was happy when I pulled Bombos from Pendant Pod, because that turned out to be really important. Let's see, what else did I do? Oh, I guess one big thing was I missed Varia in Cathedral for a while. I just forgot to check it.
Oh, yeah, no, Chad agreed. That was a super troll location for that item. But it's a very thematic place to find it, like in the lava in a heated room.
Yeah, I've never seen it there before, actually. But when I got that, the logic started to piece together a little bit more. So a couple things were super weird to me. So when I got Titans, I didn't get a whole lot out of the locations that it unlocked. So when I finally went to Ice Palace, I saw there were 2 items. First 2 chests were 2 items, and then I was like, well, I still haven't gotten anything out of my mitts. Where's my 3rd item? I could have skipped right to Cold Stare, but I didn't, because I was still like, there's got to be something else here. And then when I realized right side was hookshot locked, I was like, okay, well, that's interesting.
Speaking
guess-
of interesting, sorry to interrupt. Solski's coming up on the end of the game here and was just fooling around in the escape sequence, letting the lava rise halfway through the room and doing funny short charges at the bottom. I have to assume at this point, given all the hovered jumps in Ganon's tower, that was just some intentional screwing around. But Solski is about to wrap up, and we'll have the time in just a second here. Solski is finished in 5th place with an SRL time of 3:41:37. So congrats to Solski on finishing a difficult seed, and we'll be welcoming him onto the stream shortly. But Elm, go ahead. You were saying something?
Oh yeah, so I was really sure that third item had to be iced tea because I was like, well, the right side's hookshot locked and I don't have hookshot. So I went to go get it and it was space jump, and I was just like, wow, okay, that could have implications. So the first thing I did after that was go to GT and saw the mirror there. I still didn't have Varia, and I knew that was a sequence break, but I figured that could possibly give me a huge advantage if Varia was somewhere like really dumb. And it turns out Varia was just sitting in Cathedral the whole time, so that wasn't really that big of a break.
Yeah, I want to say only Zosti stumbled across Varia on first visit through Cathedral, but might have one of the off-stream runners might have gotten it that time too.
The other thing that really confused me was the fact that Gravity was in Pyramid Fairy, and so I knew that Hookshot couldn't be behind it, but because Ice was one of the red crystals, I think.
Yeah, I got to say, probably the most fun sort of sequence breaky moment was when we saw multiple people heated room dive for the mirror, because like you have to get the mirror, it opens up so much, and you just can't wait for Varia to show up at that point. And welcome live on air. We've got Solski. Congrats on running and completing. And what'd you think of the seed?
Always have Death Warp in Escape.
Agreed.
Yeah, that thought definitely crossed my mind, but not running into Lamp for so long didn't really feel like a punish until it was a punish, so it's pretty much how the seed went for me. But it was real fun going Bolus Pod for Bombos, doing TR for nothing, and then doing Hookshotless Swamp for Ice, and still not getting progression out of it. That was great.
Oh, hey, so I'm not the only one who did that. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you two had relatively similar late games and, of course, finished close to each other.
Yeah, I mean, like, if we had the hookshot early, that's like hookshot to bow. And I think what helped me a lot was just knowing the logic and staying away from Lower North after the death. Like, I was pretty comfortable in doing it, and then I just kind of borked Amphitheater. I was like, I don't want to go back because I might not even run into progression. Like, I couldn't get there progressively. I knew the mirror was, like, space locked, so basically became, okay, where was my actual Dark World access? Because I didn't have flippers yet. Found those, and then it just led to Fire Rod, which led to space, which led to your mirror, and still wasn't churning anything out other than, I think, Gravity. But yeah, it was pretty fun though overall, I'd say.
Yeah, this seed, the difficulty of it seemed to come more from the sort of crisscrossy progression locking and Link to the Past. It didn't have too much in the way of dicey Super Metroid sections. We didn't really see a lot of the advanced movement tricks that hard mode is advertised with.
Yeah, I mean, other than what, the Hell Run to get Varia?
Yeah, just the Hell Run, I think.
So I think Logic wanted you to. I'm not sure which way it wanted you to enter Maria from, but I think you're supposed to get the lamp suitless without high jump.
That would have been fun. Certainly, someone with a deeper grasp on the logic could break down that one, maybe after looking at the spoiler, or just given the knowledge we have now.
We don't get spoilers for this, but so Gravity was, Gravity was in Pyramid Ferry, which is behind Ice Palace. And what? Lamp was okay. Hold on. What was Lamp required for?
Lamp was what was it?
Oh yeah, it was
crash
Lamp is
repair.
required for Hookshot,
Yeah.
which was supposed to be required for Ice Palace.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because the big key was on the right side, so it was technically hookshot locked.
Yeah, and Hookshot was in a dark room.
Correct.
Yeah, we saw a lot of bomb jumping through Ice Palace this run. Did either of you have some final thoughts you'd like to share with the chat? Any streams or races coming up that you think would be fun to have people stop by?
Nah, I'm good.
All right.
Let me look at my calendar. Okay, so Thursday morning I might have an ALTTP rando tournament race that I'm picking settings for. So
Ooh, what are you gonna pick?
probably inverted.
It's a good choice. You should go inverted hard swordless. Don't believe all those stories people told you about my first race. It wasn't that bad. I mean, 240 honestly is not a bad time in Link to the Past at all.
I watched that race.
I saw that one. It was a little bit of hubris, maybe.
That was heartbreaking for me, but I'm glad you guys enjoyed it so much.
It's okay. I threw my first race too.
Oh my god.
I missed Bombos and Tile Room and an all dungeon seed that needed it.
Oh no. The worst part about that one though, I know I don't want to go too off track, but the worst part about that one I was talking to my stream about earlier was like it wasn't like a day or two later until I realized I could have just reset and saved all my magic and save like dozens of minutes. Like I could have saved all those deaths at the Lionels and all the walking back and forth. Oh my god. You don't think about that stuff when you're tilting. I swear. You
Oh,
don't.
I thought about it playing through Christos's Kaizo hack recently, but I might not have done it while tilted in a race. Yeah, yeah, this
For
game is
sure.
dumb.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Solsky, real quick, what was going through your head when you're down there in the lava during the Brinstar escape? Or Toria escape?
Specifically what I said to my stream was I don't want to do these pedestrian strats. I want to do behemoth. And that the people came to see the big boy strats, so that's why I went back down there.
Awesome. All right, well, it's been a pleasure casting all of you. Really, really great run tonight. I enjoyed casting. My partner, HK, who had to dip out early because he was getting a little bit sick, thanks to him for commentating. Big thanks to Linkforce for doing our tracking. Once again, tracking not just 4 runners, but coming in after Leno dropped off stream and Ozzy was picked up to essentially track a 5th person. All that, shout out to the work being put in behind the scenes for people setting up the stream. We've got a great community here going for Super Metroid and Link to the Past crossover randomizer. SMZ3 here in chat. I'm going to give you all links to the Discord. If this run looked fun to you, drop in, try your hand at it. It's just so much fun to learn. And hope to see you all next time. We've got races on Sunday and Monday again next week. We flip-flop the days, so Sunday will be hard mode and Monday will be normal mode for Super Metroid difficulty. With that, I hope you all have great evenings.